It's like the best ever. I don't know why people complain about being Asian. It's fucking awesome. I love it. It's great. The fact that we look 10 years younger, like think about it. You're just increasing your dating span by over a decade. If you're the top 5% of any race, you're gonna get girls. The problem isn't being Asian, the problem is just being average.
This guy's main identity is I'm a 31-year-old virgin. Pick a different identity than a virgin, right? Go have a job or go to the gym or do some kind of hobby that is somewhat attractive.
You gotta get another dating coach to commit suicide. Let me call up Xi Jinping and be like, yo, this Danya Hajjaji chick. Dude, after Tom committed suicide, she fucking went in hiding. This chick's fucking scared. Let's go reverse cancel her. Let's figure out like all the information. We have high IQ, we're high earners. I think like Indians and Asians are literally like the average salary is 50, 60% higher than the average, right? If you're making six figs, you can literally unfuck your life with 3% of your annual salary.
Ice is our token white guy on the panel.
All right, now, guys, this is an episode I have been slowly planning since the very beginning when I started the dating coach panel. Today, we have the Asian special for our Asian community around the world. If you haven't noticed, every single person here is an Asian dating coach, apart from me. I'm white and I'm hosting, but technically, I'm probably 1% Asian. Shout out to my boy Genghis Khan for that one. There's no bigger daddy than Daddy Genghis. I also have plans for an African special, a European special, an American city special, where we will probably go through each major city, east to west, one by one, effectively creating a gigantic detailed guide to popular American cities. And the craziest one will be the MP Way special, for master pickup artist coaches like Mystery, Ross Jeffries, Owen Cook, Bad Boy, Shawn Michael, Marcus Wolf, and more. Already had most of those names on the channel. If you want to see a certain theme for a future episode, drop it in the comments. If you want to see a certain coach to join the panel, drop their name in the comments and send them my way. And as always, send me your questions in the comments and I will add them to the lineup for future panels. But let's fucking go. I got such a crazy lineup here. This is wonderful. I'm going to go through you guys one by one, asking you, what kind of Asian are you and where are you calling from? JT.
Vietnamese American, and I am in Hollywood.
Nice. Danny.
Yeah, I'm Korean American, based out of Thailand for now, but I'll be going to Korea in August.
So it's like 3 a.m. for you or something?
Yeah, but I had to do it for the Asian guys, you know, we got to help each other out. So it's all good.
Here we go. Dedication. Justin.
Hey, what's up, guys? So I'm Indian Canadian, and I'm calling in from Toronto.
Nice. Aisen. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, I'm Aisen. I am a bit of a mutt, half Chinese, quarter Mongolian, Korean, and then the rest is like white and Native American. And I'm based out of Austin, Texas, but today I'm actually in Mexico.
No change there, technically. Mike.
Hey, my name is Mike. I'm based in Vegas, but I'm Chinese.
Nice. Deepak.
Yeah, so hey guy, how it's going? I am Deepak from Berlin, but I am 100% Indian.
Here we go. Nice. Let's get started. As Asian dating coaches, what kinds of issues do Asians come to you for that are somewhat unique or common to Asians? So anyone can just jump in and answer this question. I'm not going to call on anyone.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys out there that just have a limiting belief where they think, oh, well, white guys can get girls. No, white guys struggle with women. Black guys struggle with women. But they just think, oh, these problems are specific to me because I'm Chinese or I'm Indian, or, they just think like girls won't like them, because especially a lot of guys that grew up in like the West. So I found a lot of guys that grew up in, North America as Asian guys, they just have that insecurity that, white women won't like Asian guys, which is definitely a misconception and a limiting belief.
Yeah, just to hop off of what Justin was saying, like Asian Americans have a lot of limited beliefs, internalized racism, while like students that I find from Asia, they come over here and like they don't have any of that kind of limiting beliefs. They're just kind of like foreign, and they just have to learn like American dating culture. But if you're born here, a lot of guys, like, they might be tall and good looking, but they were raised to believe that they weren't as good as like white guys or black guys. So definitely agree with that.
I think for me, I think the biggest thing that I realized, because I'm more on like online dating and the Instagram part, a lot of guys come in thinking they can't be attractive, like some of the, I guess, influencers or the guys who get all the girls online dating. But I think I don't know, there was like an old saying that looks don't matter in game, but I think more than ever it's trending towards where I feel like looks do matter. Like, not everyone agrees, but I think that's what I believe, and I try to help that Asian guys are becoming attractive with the whole K-pop trend going. Like, there's Jungkook on the Billboard, like Korean guys, and even indie guys on Bollywood, right? Like, Bollywood guys are super jacked. Like, there's actually legit good-looking Indian dudes out there. So it's kind of like giving that belief that just because in West they said Asians are feminine or not attractive, I feel like now it's our job to make them believe, like, yo, you can be an attractive dude, not because you're Asian. It's in spite of being Asian. You know what I mean?
Also, my dad was a hardcore academic. He came to the US to get his PhD degree. So I think a lot of guys, most of our childhood was spent on, physics, calculus, focus on our IQ, getting into college. We never had the opportunity to really develop our social skills, right? So it's like a lot of our parents were like, okay, well, don't talk to girls from, when you're a kid all the way through college. And then once you're done with college and you have a career, it's kind of like, oh, well, why aren't you dating? And there's no process in between where those skills are honed in, right? So I think there's a gap there in terms of just awareness.
Yeah, we got those tiger parents, mom and dads.
Yeah, I think like in the Asian and Indian communities, the thing is there is a limiting belief, and also the how the West has portrayed the Asian stereotype and Indian stereotype in the past, and that is also affecting. Because if we say like if it is there is no limiting belief or there is nothing like that, then Asians and Indians should be dating the same like white people are doing, having the dating game going on. So that is definitely like, one thing I see, that there is some kind of toughness in game due to stereotype attached for Indians as well as Asians. I think the Asians are still in a better position because they have a good in-group preference, and they have done collectively slightly better in improving the stereotype. Indian are still like, it has to work on this thing. And but even if there is a kind of stereotype attachment is there, it can be overcome if you work on your game, if you work on your inner game. That is very, very important. And see yourself as the same as any other race who is very successful in their dating life. Because sometimes I see like people say like the accent of Indian people is people say like Indian accent is bad accent or something. So it is who said that? That's the question. It just in the West it is been said. So why it is not like uh, Russian accent is seen as a bad accent, or German, if German is speaking English, it is not seen as a bad accent, or French. So this is people has to raise their self-esteem and believe in themselves that whatever they have, whatever their roots are, they are all good. And in this way, I think like they can improve their game and overall stereotype when they are believing in themselves. Yeah.
You know what's interesting? I want to piggyback off of Deepak's point. So, and same thing as JT said earlier, if you're from Asia or India, you come here to the States, you're confident in dating. It's like I saw an interview where they're interviewing Indian people saying that, hey, do you like your accent? They're like, yeah, I love my accent, in the Indian accent. But whereas like if they're growing up here or raised here in America or in the Western world, they feel like they're almost like sub inferior to others because of social media, mainstream media, etc. But the biggest thing actually is obviously going to be limiting mindsets and beliefs. But another thing that I see is that they don't know, like the Asian brothers here don't know the know-how, right? They're like, hey, is it okay for me to talk to this girl? Is it okay for me to approach someone at the gym? Because their beliefs or upbringings taught them not to stand out, not to be, the center of attention, not to do these things, because the nail that stands out gets, hammered down, as they say, right? So these are things that I've noticed.
Lots of interesting perspectives. Let's move on to the next one. That's quite a lot of information right there already. By the way, I forgot to mention this. This is pure fucking coincidence. I have never been to Asia before, but I'm going for the first time on Sunday. It's like this episode has been planned for a long time, but I didn't know I was Tokyo. First Tokyo? Shanghai though. So
the worst city for dating,
first.
It's like the worst city for dating.
Shanghai or Tokyo?
Tokyo. It's extremely difficult. Yeah. Japan's
really
pretty impressive.
Why?
Yeah, the trains shut down at like midnight.
Yeah.
It's really hard for girls to come over. If they do decide to come over, I mean, the trains start back at like 5 a.m. So they have to make that decision. Also, like, there's no Uber. You got to pay like $70 just go to from Shinjuku to like Shibuya, right? So like transportation, somewhere, nightmare. These girls are working like 6-hour day or 6 days a week. So logistics and work, everything's a pain in the ass. So, and nobody's having sex.
This crazy because, from my perspective as a non-Japanese person, I have dated a few Japanese girls, but that wasn't in Japan. It was just completely different being a tour, them being a tourist. So that's very interesting to hear.
You definitely stand out, right? So that's the advantage.
Alrighty. Next question.
If you're going there, Japan, Tokyo, then I have one guy. I trained him, Johannes. He's a Japanese dating coach now. I trained him in Europe. So I can like make you contact with him. So he's working as a Japanese dating coach in Japan and is teaching like in central Japan, Shibuya and all these places. So
yeah, send him my way after if we do like a second Asian special or something. Anyway, which countries in Asia or have the most conservative girls?
Japan and Korea.
Yeah, I piggyback on that. Japan, Korea, for sure. Yeah, the most Eastern Asian countries.
They're like two big outliers. They're like way more conservative than all the other countries.
I agree.
Well, I was gonna say like probably like Pakistan would probably be pretty bad, or like a lot of the like Muslim countries and Arab countries would probably be like if you count Saudi Arabia and Asia, then like pretty fucking bad, dude.
Yeah, that's
good point.
I imagine like the Middle East would be more severe, but in Japan, like it's not a Muslim population; it's more Shinto and Buddhist. I don't know what those teach exactly, but I imagine it's not as strict in terms of marriage and relationships.
Yeah, I think like the India and Pakistan would be definitely more conservative when it comes to approach and getting laid. I think like I have been to some Asian country, like I've just been to Thailand, so they are not that conservative, and Japan is also like not that much. But Pakistan is definitely like more conservative if we can't count Pakistan in Asian country, or India is also. In India, I will say the North India is more conservative. The girls are more conservative. The south side, like Mumbai side, which there the girls are more open, and approach to sex kind of stuff can happen much more in the south part of India, especially the Mumbai area, Mumbai Goa area. So they are they are more open to this thing. And north side is slightly more conservative.
We should have had Shitesh from Iron Man Lifestyle jump on, because I think he's based in New Delhi, and I mean his channel's at 500,000 subscribers now, and I know he's crushing it. I know he's doing really well. He's helping a lot of guys, so I mean he probably have a really interesting take on this.
Mm-hmm. Are we talking about?
I gotta.
Guys want to go visit, or just who's the most conservative?
What are you saying?
Are we talking about countries just the most conservative as a whole, or just like countries that guys visit for dating?
Yeah, let me double up on this question. So the next question, very similar. So some Asian cultures are very conservative. How can this be navigated for dating in general? But let's focus on this from the perspective of an Asian guy first, rather than some random American tourist just going to Thailand, because I think it's going to be more important for Asians to learn from this.
So I think I actually live in Korea, right? So I actually learned from there's a guy named, I think he's still teaching. So he calls it Pick Up Asia. He's a black guy teaching game in Korea. And then I met Korean pickup artists. So it all depends, right? And I think as a foreigner in Korea, you gotta learn to speak Korean a little bit. I think Korea is an interesting country where they don't speak English as well. But I'm talking about like if you want to date like the local Koreans, right? The girls who really, I personally think the locals are the most pretty, but there's also obviously the Korean Americans and everything like that. But I think learning a little bit Korean is good. Or I call it like learn how to connect. I think as an Asian guy, it's actually easier because you can connect with the culture, especially if you're a Korean American guy or a Korean guy going to that country. I think same thing with Japan. I think Mike was saying it right, dude. Japan was hard. I remember just like cold approaching and like I would say the most brutal rejections for me were in Korea, where girls like you approach them, they don't even notice you. They just like literally walk past, like not even acknowledging you exist sometimes. But it's kind of fun because the volume's really high there. Just, I mean, you can call it what it is, plastic surgery or whatever, but there's a lot of attractive girls in Korea, at least in my eyes, right? So, but they do have a lot of attitude. I think Max came out to Korea for a bit, and he gamed there too, but he actually went out with the local pickup guys in Korea. But Korea is also very aggressive. Like the club game, I mean, we call it like we just pull them in. We literally stand on tables and we just pull. So it's like it's different. The club girls are actually not conservative. So you could actually do one night stand game pretty easy in Korea if you are very dominant. And there's no talking because the clubs are really loud. But if you want to date someone and have a girlfriend, now that's different. Now you got to show them like you're not going to just leave the country because Korea actually doesn't like it when you're just going to leave the country anyways. But if you kind of tell them you come back and actually tell the truth, and I think comfort helps a lot if you're trying to have a girlfriend in Korea. But if you're just trying to do one night stand, just go clubbing once in Korea. It's fun. It's kind of a very different, aggressive approach that you haven't seen.
If you want to get approach anxiety, go to K-Town. Go to all Korean club. That'll fix your aim real quick.
So the question is like the question is here the conservative the culture is conservative or the toughness of the game, because that's interesting. Because if we say like the toughness of the game, then the language will be the issue. So when it comes to approaching girls in India, then like you don't need to learn Hindi language. So the communication will be easier, but due to culture, it can be a bit tough to get laid. So in Korea or in Japan, it can happen that due to the language issue, the game will be tougher, but due to culture, which will be still slightly open than Indian culture, so you can still get laid. So what I have heard, I was in Japan, but I was not into game at that time. I mean, we're talking about 2004, so I was not even in Europe. So so what I have learned, what my this friend told me that like you can get laid like six when you like like in Japan, in Tokyo, like 6.5 7 max. But when you want to go for 8 plus, then you definitely need to have Japanese language, because they are getting approached from everyone and they are very, very tough even for foreigners. Even if this European card, it do not work. Like you have to be really good in Japanese language, then you can get laid. But for like you can get laid with six around, like with some level of Japanese, some Google Translate. So sex is easier, but the language will be the issue. In Pakistan, I mean, I like like it is where I'm not like how you will be cold approach on the street. It will be tough. But if you speak in English language, then some girls will be like, just when you speak in English language in India also, they will be impressed. But it doesn't mean that you will get laid immediately. Make sense?
So something I have seen a lot of guys say about India in particular is, well, for example, arranged marriages, you can't book a hotel room without showing a marriage certificate or something like that. All kinds of things. So I don't know
It can
what kind of
happen.
question to ask, but
But it is like it is people still there are some like I have one student who is having this issue of that they want to see the ID, they want to have the ID of the girl if they want to book a hotel. uh, I think that they are slightly more advanced now. So he's in Mumbai. If you land up in a like a wrong hotel, it can happen. They will try to trick you and some involve some kind of police or something and try to extort money in that way. It can happen, but now it is fading away. Like this open sex kind of culture is slightly coming in India also slowly. So it like for example, when I was in India, I could not imagine that I would be taking a girl to a hotel and just like for like sleeping with her 2003, 2004, 5, 6. So now time has changed, but you can it is not like it is not open like in in Europe or in USA. So that slightly conservative culture is there.
A quick travel hack. Usually when you travel, I would recommend not booking like a place for 2 weeks, especially for somewhere new, especially if you don't know the logistics. I would say book it for like 2 or 3 days. If things are out of whack or you can't pull, you have the opportunity to book somewhere else, right? Especially like I've seen guys where they go to same thing in Vietnam. Sometimes it can be anal with hotels, right? You don't want to go somewhere and then you lock yourself in for 2 weeks and then you can't back out of that, location. So I usually just book 1 or 2 days, test it out. And if it works great, I'll extend it. If not, I'll just find a new place.
I
Another
like the
way to
sound of anal hotel. So
another way
Hey,
to, I feel like, circumvent the whole conservative is, I mean, you guys know all the dating apps, right? You can use passport mode or DMs. So what I do is I test it out, right? I change it to passport mode. You got Bumble, Tinder, and every country usually has those two. Hinge is more like Western, but then you also got Raya, right? If you get onto Raya, I mean, Bollywood has some stunning women on Raya, but basically you hit them up and they'll ask you, oh, how long you're staying. So right off the bat, they're trying to like set up a wall if you say you're leaving soon. So what I try to do is I usually go through DMs. And also another thing is you could do Instagram game, right? You search, I mean, it's like a secret, but I actually everyone knows that is just find the hot spot, right? Everyone does their research, look for a hot club, look at all the girls who have tagged pictures, message each one of them, see which one's DTF, right? Because they're already clubbing, and then see if they're like kind of like conservative or they're trying to have fun. But usually, I think you'll always find a girl. It's not focusing on, I think it's kind of like what we said about limiting beliefs, right? If we focus on the whole general population, then yeah, you're going to kind of create that conservative girls to come to you. But you start searching out some girls who are more open-minded. I mean, especially in India, right? There's billions of people. China, like there's billions, right? Korea's 51 million people. So try the DM game, try Instagram. That's why I still like, I'm pushing for social media because I think that's a new way to connect yourself to the world and then find like specific women who are, because let's be honest, if Drake goes to a country, you think he's gonna find conservative girls, or the conservative girls are gonna turn all liberal for him, right? So it's all perspective. I mean,
I like
that's true.
that.
Yeah, gotta be Drake.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Danny was saying. Definitely, there are also going to be a lot of conservative girls and girls that are going to turn liberal if they find the right person. Just like we always know that girls are always going to make exceptions for the guys that they like. So sometimes they're like, hey, I don't do this or whatever, but the guy that she likes, she'll do whatever for. And I'm a huge proponent of the mindset. So understanding that, I grew up, the place that I'm from has a lot of Muslim population and a lot of mixed people. So like they're not supposed to drink, they're not supposed to smoke, they're not supposed to have sex before marriage, but certain people do because they make exceptions. And I know this girl personally, she went to Cairo, Egypt, and she married a guy to have sex with him in Egypt. And she was only there for 2 weeks and got divorced after she came back to the States. And that's what I'm saying. Girls bend rules for the guys that they like.
That's a very interesting example. That's crazy. Yeah. Any other comments before we move on to the next one?
I agree with Danny. I think a lot of dating, it's an outliers game, right? When you're pulling girls, you're pulling that 1 out of 10 or whatnot. So I think even in conservative countries, there's going to be pockets of girls that act differently. And I feel like some girls are just genetically dispositioned to be compliant, right? Like, I would say Korean girls are generally more difficult, but I've also met Korean girls that are extremely easy, right? And they're just like, okay, let's go. So like any country, like there's the culture, but I think everybody has their own, like, there's plenty of outliers where it doesn't conform to like the general statistics or the average.
Hmm. Oh yeah, Daniel was talking about abundance. Surely there's no more powerful abundance than being in Asia with so many billions of people. You guys have so much abundance out there. No excuses, okay? But any other comments before we move on to the next one?
I think that if you play the game right and uh, push the right trigger, then I think you can get laid in conservative country as long as they are not like hardcore Muslim, like Saudi Arabia or something like that. So definitely the game play a big role. How you are playing the game, how you are escalating the girl, and then like logistics and everything, and then it is definitely like possible in India also and in Asian countries also. Yeah.
Mhm. Alrighty, next one. This one's more Chinese specific. In China, the one-child policy lasted 2 entire generations from 1979 to 2015. This means that a lot of Chinese kids would grow up without brothers, sisters, or cousins. Have any of you guys noticed any side effects of this? So, for example, there are claims that male babies were preferred for family, which then caused an imbalance of the younger male and female populations, which then caused a lot of young Chinese men to be lonely virgins. I don't know how true this is because there are lots of disputes over this, but feel free to add anything.
Yeah, I was a single child growing up. I think ultimately my parents wanted another kid, but they were already too old, so they went back to China and adopted my sister. So I have a sister who is adopted, right? I think, yeah, just being the only child growing up, just a lot of pressure ultimately, right? When you're the oldest son in the family, there's a lot of pressure to excel, and you're scrutinized a lot, right? And I think this would apply to not just Chinese people. I think anybody growing up as the only child, you just have less interactions with siblings. You learn less, you don't know how to deal with sharing and things like that. So those are things I had to overcome after college. I had to go through a lot of soul searching and things like that. But I think if I were to have kids, I probably wouldn't have just one kid. I think there's benefits to having multiple siblings for sure.
All I can speak of from that perspective is from as a coach, because I have like a lot of Chinese students. There's something called like little emperor syndrome. I think that's what it's called, where a lot of these guys that come from China, they're not used to sort of like living on their own because their parents kind of take care of everything. And sort of like what Mike was saying, they're sort of like sheltered. So they come over here and they're not used to sort of the more, I guess, cosmopolitan ways of socializing with women or taking care of themselves. Like I've had students, their mom washed all their dishes, their laundry, cooked all their food well into adulthood. Come out here and it's like, okay, these are the things that an adult man needs to be able to take care of themselves. These are kind of the life skills that you should have. And this is kind of like a hallmark of sometimes why it's sort of hard for someone coming from the Asian motherland moving over to America and trying to learn how to date as an American, this skill discrepancy when it comes to life skills.
Yeah, any students where they live with their parents, I just know it's going to be 50% more work. So
Oh, yeah.
difficult tax. Also, I think Asian parents, it's not really necessarily, the single child, but I think a lot of Asian parents, I think it's a good thing. They care a lot about their kids and they want them to succeed. But instead of teaching their kids to make decisions on their own. They kind of just tell you what's right. Like, don't do this, do that. Here's the right way. That's the wrong way. So I think a lot of Asian kids grow up to be poor decision makers, or they have decision paralysis. As I think, and that's really the key when it comes to dating. Pickup, logistics, problem solving. There's more than one way to skin the cat. So, and a lot of times you have to make quick decisions on the fly, right? You're at a club, you're talking to a girl, there's 5 different variables. You got to be able to call the shots really quickly and figure out what you want to do. So I think a lot of Asian kids that they're told the right answers since adolescence, they just never get to hone in on these key skill sets.
Yeah, totally. I'm gonna jump on this point because I'm Chinese. So a lot of fucking pressure, like Mike was saying, because you're the only child now. I'm the only child too. So the thing is, my parents came from a family of four kids, both sides. Like they have 4 kids on each side, and usually one kid in each family is like not the brightest one, and there's one that's like not so good, like kind of the black sheep of the family. But with the one child policy, every person has to be now like the elite, the brightest person, and it puts a lot of pressure on us for sure. And one thing that no one else mentioned is that there's a shit ton of men in China now, single men. The reason for that is because the one child policy in China, men are favored. Same thing as India, all the South Asian countries as well. Men are favored over women. So when they do the ultrasound, they're like, oh shit, it's a girl. Let's get rid of it. So now there's a shit ton of men, and these men now have to go to Russia or Vietnam to find wives.
Alrighty. Any other comments on this? Very,
Yeah, I
very
think
interesting stuff, by the way.
yeah, I think that the thing is like yeah, I think that China have this, but they have changed this one child policy now different, and definitely they have this more male population than female population, and that is also cause like issues. But interesting thing what I see in this, like hard in getting laid for Asians and Indians also, how the West has portrayed their culture in the past. I think that China has done a good job in showing improving their stereotype. I mean, you guys know better, but they have definitely done a bit better job than Indian stereotype Indians are doing. So they are slightly have improved their stereotype. So if overall the stereotype of Asian people will improve, it may take like decades or maybe take like more than that time, then it will be also easier for them to get laid.
Well, the thing is, it's not all about getting laid. Getting laid is easy, it's cheap. It's
Yes.
just a few $100s for someone really, really nice. But the thing is, a lot of guys that I talk to, they're paying for hookers and these things like that. They feel so empty afterwards. I'm like, hey, you should save your money. He's like, yeah, now I feel like shit, worse. It's not about getting laid, it's about getting that affection and really
Yeah,
finding
sorry.
yourself and other people.
Yeah.
It's like every topic you talk about someone, not you, Deepak. I'm not trying to attack you, but every topic we talk about is always goes down to, oh, let's get laid, one night stand. It's not about that, right? As men, we gotta move forward, and it's not about the number of women you can have sex with. We can do that. It's just there's no point in that. It's about
No,
building your
you're
legacy.
right. You're right. I have to correct it. It is about getting laid by the person who desires you for who you are. So I forget it. So it
Yep.
is not about like what I teach is also, because when the guys come in game, it is not about getting laid. So you are right in that way that, you can go to hooker or something or whatever, but it is about getting laid. It is not even about like sex. It is about the getting that intimacy from the person who likes you for who you are, not about you. It is not about for your money or something like that. That is the main problem, like the whole like dating community like is facing, that finding that person who likes you for who you are. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
just to piggyback on agreeing with Aisen there, I would say like 70% of the guys that come to me, none of them want to be pickup artists, right? None of them want like amazing amounts of lays. They just want like their choice of a girlfriend. And yeah, there are some outlier guys that are like, oh, like 100, sure. But the majority of guys, especially Asian guys, because, you know, culturally, a lot of them are driven to be in a relationship, maybe, you know, play the field, have a little bit of fun, but eventually get into a relationship, get married, and then, you know, have a family. I would say, like, you know, a good percentage of Asian guys, Asian and Asian American, want that path and aren't drawn into the so-called pickup artistry.
What's your definition of pickup? I feel like it's just like marketing term now. It's like it doesn't matter what you call it, it's the same thing. It's talking to people, it's going to the gym, it's having a good Instagram, it's having good social skills. I mean, we call it dating coach, pickup artist, it's all the same, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I agree.
it's like whatever
No,
the
I
term
wouldn't
is
say
in
the same.
mainstream
So
nowadays, right?
one thing that I see,
Yeah,
like
at
with
the end of
pickup
the guy,
artists,
you
a
got.
lot of
I think.
strategies, a lot of. Sorry, but
I think
I'm
at the
saying
end
that
of the
there's
day,
a lot of.
you just got to follow the guy and figure out like what their value systems are. But like,
Right, right. You got to find someone that you can actually see yourself in, and your values align. But with pickup, I feel like there's more strategies and tricks and techniques. Whereas with, improving yourself in the mindset, it's more so about inner self, and then you can do whatever. You don't have to worry about no lines. You don't have to worry about no whatever strategies, techniques. It's like I don't even teach lines. You don't have to memorize anything.
Uh, I will not agree to that point, because if you see that good inner game and everything is important, but that at the same time the outer game, the line technique is also important. So if you see like geopolitics, USA is strong, like we say, like strong inner game, so they can go all in. Like for example, in Iraq, they go direct game, direct hardcore. But when they defeated USSR, so it is not about just be powerful. So they use the tactics and technique. So this is how I see like the world. So when you want to get success efficiently, then you need to have the inner game. Inner game is required, but at the same time you have to have a good outer game technique, so that you able to solve the problem what you're facing efficiently. So if the girl is like 8 or 9 or going on the street, and like I tell the guy, like you have the best in game, just go and hey, you're beautiful, I want to talk to you. She will just reject the guy, and then then somebody will say, like some coach will say, oh, like let's try another girl. So but now the question is like how we can win, how we can get this problem solved. So I think that here we need to work, we have to be like, inner game is also important, but the good outer game, what are the technical things what we are doing, that is also important. This is how I see.
It's a balance of inner, outer. Like you could have, like I get like a lot of foreign Asian students, and again, they're coming from the motherland of Asia, so they've never once ever experienced what it is to have racism, and they go up to a girl and they've in their Bobby accent, right? And I've seen this, like the white girl would just completely blow him out. He could be completely confident, but that perception, that stereotype, no amount of inner game is going to solve that. But it is important. Like, again, we've harked from the very beginning of limiting beliefs. Definitely everyone has to like be able to manage that and deconstruct that in their mind. But it does have to have that external feedback, right? Of real world technique to match what we believe internally in ourselves.
Yeah, and also like if you are like you have you start the game with a strong inner game. The problem is that in this if there is no proper technical outer game, then what will happen when you start to get the reference experience, which is always like a negative. Okay, 1 rejection, 2 rejection, 1 month of rejection, 2 months of 5 months of 1 year of rejection, then it is very hard to keep that strong inner game permanently. So that inner game will convert it into a negative kind of inner game. Makes sense? Because you need to have a positive reference experience to back up that claim. If USA is saying I'm the best, but they are losing all the war, so what is this inner game? So you have to also backup plan. You have to have the backup to win the game.
Alrighty, let's move on. Just want to highlight what Mike said. He said there's more than one way to skin a cat. I'm very curious now. Moving on. Question from someone in the community. I'm a 31-year-old virgin due to a terrible childhood, family responsibility at a young age, and low to no social life. I have never been with a woman. It's about time I started dating women. So how can I start dating women in a matter that does not look desperate. I want to keep things sophisticated so women don't think I'm a 31-year-old creep. Loaded one, but there we go.
What does he do for work? That's a big question. Important.
Yeah, I have no further
McDonald's, or
information
is
on
he like making 200K at Facebook? I think ultimately his work allows him different options, right? Based on his net worth and style. So
It's about honesty.
Yeah, I mean,
if you're
Truth is-
sorry, go ahead.
The truth is, it's about honesty. So you got to be honest with yourself. You're a 31-year-old virgin, right? You need some woman in your life. So you got to be honest with the girl too. Hey, look, I'm a virgin. I'm 31 years old. I think it's time for me to actually start dating and get into a relationship. Because if you're honest with them, they can respect you. Because a lot of times I coach virgins too, and they don't want to tell the girl that they're seeing or going on a date with that they're not experienced. They feel ashamed, right? That's the first starting point. You got to feel that for you to move forward. You got to understand what's going on wrong, and you got to accept that. So that's number one.
I will
Yeah,
say like this
this
is
guy's sorry, you go ahead, Deepak.
yeah. So this is how I see this is not a right strategy, because this is how I see, like, because if we are seeing on the practical level, so just saying to the girl that I mean, if somebody is virgin, then it is okay to be virgin. So you have to accept the fact that is like an inner game, but outer game technique, you are not supposed to say to the girl, I am virgin, because in her mind she will not value you at that time, and then it will become tougher for you to get laid with that girl. So inside, uh, deep inside, it is okay to be virgin. Don't feel ashamed about it. But if the adaptation is required, then do the adaptation, get the girl, move on, simple as that. So maybe it looks a bit weird, but lie is not a lie if it is for good.
You-
So this is how I
I
see
mean,
from
I
the
agree. You probably shouldn't tell girls you're a virgin right off the bat. I don't think most girls care. But to answer your question, I think a lot of guys like to get into the nitty gritties, like, oh, what's the best line? They want to get into the very super granular, like small things that doesn't really move the needle, right? I would say, if you're a guy and you're just like in a fucked up situation or you're 10 years behind, you got to make big moves, big chess pieces, like change where you live. That's number one. If you're living with your parents and if you're living with a toxic environment, that is the most key thing. Like move, find some new roommates, move closer to downtown, go to a better city. That's step one, right? And then you have to put placeholders in place. It's like if you're trying to bodybuild and you're trying to gain weight, the first criteria is just eating enough calories, right? So you need to position yourself where you can naturally meet more women, or you have some sort of, like, this is what I say, like, you need to be all in dating, or just don't fucking do it. Like, like, don't dabble in pickup. I see these guys, they're like on Reddit forums for 10 years. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, you can get this shit handled in 6 months. Just fucking go all out. Otherwise, you're just that forever loser that just like knows everything, knows every dating coach, and knows all the drama, but you're still not getting girls. Like, we're not here to know about the lives of dating coaches. Like, just go in, go hard, get the shit handled in 6 months, and then like live your life, right? So
Yeah, I
Okay,
don't know what Mike
gave me the
said, like,
chills right
about
there. That's a real good one. Gave me the chills.
100%.
Sorry, Justin. I'll just throw a little point in first. I like what Deepak and Mike are saying. I think I don't normally add in my perspectives, but I think a great thing for virgins to do is something like try to display the opposite behaviors. So if you're a virgin, and this question mentions the word creepiness and various other things, that's the kind of vibe that virgins could quite easily give. But imagine what the opposite behaviors are. And although that sounds kind of vague, simply displaying the opposite behaviors is a real simple transformation, but I would say it's much better than just saying I'm a virgin. But it's not so much words, but the behaviors that you're carrying. Go ahead, Justin.
I
Sorry.
don't want to label you.
I
Yes.
have one story to tell. What happens? It's a real story. So there was a virgin in Germany, and I was working with him, and it took me like 3 months of like consistent training with him. And then what happens? Finally, he took a girl home, and then I said, like, what happened? He said that she was in my apartment, and then I said I was so happy I cooked for her, and then I said that after my mother and my sister, you are the first girl in my apartment. That girl got freaked out and fucking left that place,
Mm.
blocked him. And then he said that what I am wrong, what I've done wrong. Deepak, I am honest. I want to be honest. I want to start the relation with honesty. I said, like, dude, what the fuck? So,
Yeah,
you know,
that's a mistake guys who lack experience make, right? A lot of these guys think like it's great to be honest. I think we all want to be honest because then you feel accepted by the people who accept your honesty. But the issue is, again, if you're a 30-plus-year-old virgin, you want to actually demonstrate social awareness because that's what women feel comfortable with, right? And so a guy who's in his 30s who has no experience with, social life and dating, you got to really start with those small wins. Start going to the gym, start changing your fashion. Like Mike said, start changing your environment, the people you're around. You start going all in and working on yourself in all areas, right? Because, if this guy's a 31-year-old virgin, he's probably overweight. He's probably dressing very poorly. He's probably not ambitious in other areas of his life. So it's really about changing the person you are and putting yourself in front of the social opportunities so you can actually get the results you want to have. And like Deepak said, I wouldn't be running around telling people you're a virgin, right? That would be a bit of a mistake. There's nothing wrong with honesty, or maybe after you finally get intimate with a woman, letting her know that I didn't tell her that you have a whole lot of experience beforehand. But it really comes down to, again, as I said, pretending to be the guy who is confident and the guy that is attracted to women, so you can actually become that guy.
I'm gonna put both like what Eisen said and then what everyone else said. I think it's kind of like, look at his identity though, right? I mean, that's an introduction, right? His introduction is like, obviously, maybe he didn't want to say his name, but his introduction is, I am a 31-year virgin. So his identity crisis. No, I know, like we have so many identities, right? Right now, we're saying we're dating coaches, or I say I'm a confidence coach or a lifestyle coach. I'm an influencer, or if you have good YouTuber. So you're actually multiple identities. And this guy's main identity is, I'm a 31-year-old virgin. So I agree with Justin. I'm like, yo, go to the gym. So now I'm a guy who works out. So I mean, I'm obviously I love to work out. So for me, when I was overweight, so I actually learned from one of the coaches here, right? So like I used to be a guy who didn't have any games. So I was a student before I became a dating coach. So I did learn from JT, and I kind of went through like other dating coaches, 3 dating coaches. So I wasn't a virgin, but like my first leg was like the girl came up to me, right, kind of thing, right? When I finally lost weight, but I think she kind of wanted to take my virginity a little bit. I think she had that kind of vibe. So I think with this guy, I think first change his identity, right? Pick a different identity than a virgin, right? Go have a job, like Mike said, or go to the gym, or do some kind of hobby that is somewhat attractive. And then I think even with me, like eventually it took me actually a long time to finally admit that I'm a guy who has game or can get girls. It took me to like 28 actually to finally accept it, even though I had all these results, right? So I do think you should fake it to make it, but then you add eyes in this whole inner game stuff, right? And you change your identity. It's like, okay, I'm not a virgin. Like, even if he has sex, he might still be like, I still can't get girls, right? So I think he needs to first work. I mean, he might need a therapist. That's not even being mean. I'm just saying he might have a huge, terrible childhood that even dating coaches can't fix. So you might have to work on that. I don't know, do some like crystal shit, and I don't know, I'm not saying like, the spiritual stuff. Like, go do something.
Ayahuasca.
Like, yeah, do something to like get that shit out of your head, dude. But if it's not that serious, now he's just making excuses, right? Like, life's hard, dating's hard. It's supposed to be hard. That's why, like, hot girls are such a rarity, right? They're like the 1%. We're all trying to be 1%ers, right? So I think first he changes his identity, and then he takes what Deepak, Justin, and Mike said, do the tactics, and then eventually, once he gets the results, right? He has two choices. First, before he gets the results, he chooses to be great, or he gets the results and then he says he's great. So I think if he puts them together, what we just said, he'll do fine.
I really like that point about identity. That makes a lot of sense to me because although I lost my virginity at a very young age, I did display several identities over at being a teenager and so on. So that makes a lot of sense to me personally. That I really like that point. Yeah. Anyone else?
I'm going to read in between a little bit of the lines of his statement. It sounds like, because he was like saying, oh, I want to like socialize on a sophisticated higher level. And he's like a 31-year-old virgin, right? That says to me he has like high expectations, but low resilience, which means like he wants to be perfect, but he's not going to be able to like withstand like the slings and arrows of rejection because he hasn't faced it. I think in any kind of pursuit of mastery of any skill level is we've got to climb that mountain, call it cringe mountain, whatever, is whenever you have to learn something that is difficult, that is rarefied, that everyone else wants, you've got to put in the work. There is no magic bullet. There is no like sophisticated level when you're coming in from such a, you know, back foot compared to everybody else. Just embrace cringe mountain, right? Just go out there. I mean, obviously, maybe get some help. Like there's a plethora of free information out there on YouTube, the internet, where you can like learn and, you know, calibrate yourself with whatever instruction and whatever help that you need. But embrace cringe mountain. Just get out there and don't have this attitude. It's like, oh, I'm going to learn this highly sophisticated, high level kind of game where I'll never be rejected. And, you know, I'll be able to get over my problems because I found like that perfect strategy or tactic. Like there is no perfect strategy. There's no perfect tactic. Each person is unique and you have to find what works specific to your situation.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. And for example, when you want to go out and you know that it's gonna be very awkward approaches in the start. So sometimes I suggest guys also, for example, if you're living in your local city and you don't want to be that creepy guy labeled, so better like take a like Friday evening, go to some other city, practice the approaches. Even if something happens, it will be on the other city, and then come back and like calibrate something like that if you don't want to burn your city, something like that. Because in the start, definitely when you are going out and you're like 31-year-old virgin, so it will happen. The girl will be get freaked out. So this guy, when I was teaching him, so in the start I have to set to him that ask the girl, if you have a like, you know, the head, what we say toilet, what we say, you know, in German we say Taschentücher, this paper napkin kind of thing. On the street, I was asking him to say, I was teaching him in German language. So when he was saying this thing, the girl get fucking freaked out. So imagine like how much freaky situation was for him. But it is in Berlin, so Berlin has like 5 million people, so it is not a big problem. So if this situation is happening, then one what we say technical solution, because sometimes people think that, oh, I'm already like a virgin, if I go out, then girl may think that I am like kind of like freaky. So to remove that factor, just go in some other city on the weekend time, practice it, and then come back. So this is also a good strategy, and you will your social reputation in your local city will be saved. If you are from the small city, if you are in London, New York, then nobody cares.
Unless you're going to the same university campus over and over again, and then you're on a fucking Reddit post for 2 years in a row. Don't fucking do that one, guys. I want to tie in some points I heard throughout this. Mike said about changing your environment. I think that's such a solid point. I heard Mysteries was talking about the same thing when I had him on. And I've been thinking about that recently. That has stuck with me because my situation, I don't want to waste time getting into this, but I've been stuck in England for well over a year because my wife has brain cancer and she hasn't been able to fly. It's going to be her first flight in a long time on Sunday. But being stuck here for so long, the one thing we need is a change of environment, like desperately. So I understand that not just from a dating perspective. I did change my environment when I was younger, kind of for the sake of work and dating, and it worked out. massively. So that's a very solid point I really want to highlight from my personal experience and what Mystery was saying in relation to that too. And about honesty, like if you really want to tell her that you're a virgin, why don't you seduce her, have sex with her, and send her a fucking postcard after and say, well, thanks for taking my virginity away. It's like, you can be honest, but and I'm not saying be dishonest, but the behaviors you display, that is some kind of side of honesty. And that's something that people should think about. Any other last comments before?
Yeah,
one
hold on,
thing,
hold
like
on,
I
hold
will
on.
not even.
Honesty, going back
One
to
thing,
honesty.
I
So
just
I totally agree. You got to be honest, but in the beginning, you got to be honest. This is why I want to contradict it a little bit, Ice. It's because if you're not honest in the beginning, then she's gonna know like, why is this guy acting so weird? Because this person doesn't have an experience, right? So he's gonna act a little bit differently than someone who does have experience. But he says, hey, I'm just not very experienced. I spend a lot of time playing games or going to school or working. I just never had time to date. So I know this is gonna sound weird and come across as being a little bit different than most people, but I'm actually a virgin. If he says that in the beginning on the first date, then she's gonna understand him a lot better, give him a lot of slack. Like just like for me, if I say, hey, I just got out of prison, I was in prison 5 years. That's why I don't have an iPhone because they didn't have iPhones or it wasn't very popular, right? That's why I don't know how to use the apps, right? So
I
now
think
they're like, oh, okay, this guy, okay, that's fine, right? He's
I
not
think
that
you guys
weird.
are both valid
but
because in
both
terms of
example are
games,
wrong. Actually, sorry. Can I finish? So the thing is the prison example and the virgin example, they are slightly different because the prison is actually, it can be slightly kind of give a girl like, okay, he has kind of this criminal kind of thing, so it can be slightly attractive in one way, uh,
And he
in
lost
that
his
way. So,
virginity anally when he was in prison.
and
So there's
also, yeah,
also that.
and one thing also, what you said, that giving a postcard. So I will not do this thing even after sex, because if we are going into relation, so because the girl is thinking that, oh, this guy is like cool and he's a player, because in her mind, your picture, she has a picture that this guy is a cool guy. So you want to keep that thing going on. If you able to project it that you can get lit with lot of girls and she's already in a long term relation with you, maybe then later you can say after 3-4 years, but I will not do it even after sex.
Alrighty.
I want to get into
Let's
it, but you guys,
quickly move on to the next one,
can I
just
just say
so
something real
Danny
quick?
can. Okay.
I just say something real quick. So you guys both valid because in terms of game, there's micro scale and there's macro scale, right? Macro is kind of like looking at an average over your growth over 6 months, 12 months, right? And then the micro scale is that specific set. What is your percentage of success, right? So what Eisen's saying is being able to convey your thoughts and just saying whatever you feel, that's going to help you on the macro scale. But specifically for that one interaction, maybe telling a girl you're a virgin is not the right move. But since we're going out talking to 20, 30 girls a night, you can lose some sets by you have to become better at game. You have to fuck up. And the only way to do that is trial and error and going outside of what you normally do. And so I think both of you guys are right. Sometimes, I'll split test, right? It's just kind of like, it's like marketing, right? I'll say some controversial shit to like half of the girls for the first 2 hours of the night. And then I'll say some conservative, like, hey, how's your night going? The other half, right? So, but does that kind of make sense? I think both of you guys have valid points.
Yes, sir.
Right. That was my
Alrighty, let's move on to the next one. What are the differences you have observed in gaming Americanized Asians compared to non-Americanized Asians, as in original Asians? How do you approach and escalate differently?
American
So
shaves.
Let's have Danny go first.
I have to go get off, so I'll give my personal opinion, and this is my experience. I'm not saying it's the way everyone, but I do think Asian Americans are a little bit more have more attitude, because I do think when they live in America, their sexual market value, they think it's higher because white guys are in love with them. And I think there was a study, I don't know if it's still true, but the Asian race, the women date more outside of the race, 50% more. I don't know if that's still true, but apparently they marry or date more outside our race. Like our Asian race is the only race where like the girls date more outside, over 50%. So my experience was like, yeah, like Mike said, K-Town, man, like there's a club there called Circle, I think, still there, and it's like brutal, right? Like these girls have such a big, like they're on a pedal. You know about talk about delusion and not delusion, but limiting belief. They have the other side where they think like they're the hottest girls ever, the Asian girls in America. It's crazy. It's kind of like I went to the Air Force Academy and we had 80% dudes and 20% girls. So a solid like girl, let's just rate the girl to SMB. If she's a 6 or a 7, she thinks she's an 8 or a 9. And guys would put them because we are in scarcity, right? But when you come to Asia, man, there's so many. Yes, there's a lot of surgery, but there's so many beautiful girls like everywhere, right? There's so much more abundance. So I do think that Asian girls here are more feminine. I think the Asian girls are more feminine for sure. And I think a lot of guys, actually, a lot of guys want to come to Asia. I know a lot of Asian guys have the whole like I want to date white girls, but I do think even for me, after I got past that phase, I kind of like the Korean culture, man. I'm not gonna lie, I like the Korean food. The girl could talk to me, and like I like Caucasian girls too. But for me now, it's not about race, it's about the connection. And I think I always feel like home with the girl. And maybe it's the mommy thing too. My mom's Korean, so I do think just Asian girls are more feminine. And my personal experience, I've dated Asian American girls. They're a little bit more like attitude, I guess you could say. Like they have a that's my personal experience, personally. But hey, I just want to say a couple last words. Thank you for this opportunity. I seriously, and each coach here, I've heard about you guys and I saw your YouTube. Keep killing it. And I'm so glad that the first time we're not kind of like, we don't attack each other, but the Asian community has come together to help Asian guys out. So it's been a truly pleasure. And I appreciate you doing this, Ice, especially a white guy doing this for us. You know, sometimes we kind of tell our students like
reverse colonialization.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. So I really appreciate it. And thank you for this opportunity. And all you guys kill it. And I hope you guys all kill it on this call. Appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Take care.
Thanks for coming. There, gotta give some reverse, well, not reverse racism. Gotta make up for any racism that my ancestors have caused. But anyway, whatever.
It's affirmative action,
continue.
right? Affirmative action.
Someone has to do it. But I'm just crazy. I just come up with ideas. But this is a super solid panel. I'm so glad we're here. You guys are very solid.
So I believe that Americanized Asian girls are more open-minded, less conservative. Whereas like the Asian girls back home in the homeland are more conservative, they have different values. But in China, it's like one of the biggest they take what is it? They take what is I think called abortions not very seriously because it's like very normal. It's like, hey, I forgot to wear a condom. Now I'm pregnant. Let's get an abortion, in 2 weeks, right? But over here, it's more political. But I would say that even in Asia and in America, I would act the same way. Just people just treat me differently. So in America, if I talk to an Asian girl, they treat me like, okay, this is normal, right? In Asia, if I do the same thing, they're like, oh, why is this guy so like straightforward with me? He's so blunt. But then they still like it because they're not used to it. And if I bring the confidence and charisma, more likely than not, they're going to be happy with it.
I think, obviously, from a cold approach perspective, Americanized Asian girls are a little bit more used to it, right? A lot of times when I approach fobby Asian girls, you just get the deer in the headlight look, like, what is going on? Like, what? There's a guy that's talking to me and I don't know his entire social circle, and they just like freeze up, right? It happens very common. So I think in Asian culture, just walking up to a stranger is not common, essentially. And I think, China is very overly populated. I think most of the time people don't give a fuck. It's very different than approaching a Latina girl or a black girl. I think I get a lot of Asian clients that they think they have to only date and marry an Asian girl. But sometimes the conversations are just so shit and short. I'm like, all right, let's just try a Latina girl. Let's try a black girl. And they're like resistant at first, but then they end up having like the best conversation of the night with like a non-Asian girl. So they're like, mine is a little bit blown. But I would say, yeah, in general, I think it's a little bit easier to open Americanized Asian girls. But also, I think in terms of long-term dating and value systems, obviously this is a generalization, but I think a lot of girls back in Asia, it's more about like status, career. It's about like who you are as a man on paper Whereas I think in America, it's more about like, do we align on values? Do we share similar interests? Are we growth minded? So I think, ideally, being born in China and growing up in the US, I kind of have like a hybrid mindset, right? Eventually, if I were to have kids, I want them to value education, but I also want them to be like play sports and be into public speaking, doing debate. So I think, yeah, obviously you're gonna find both. If you talk to enough girls, you're gonna find girls with whatever traits you want in both Asia or in the US. But I think Americanized Asian women are probably going to be a little bit more open-minded.
I have experience if we say like my personal, so as an Indian, it is the Asian girls are definitely like tough for me, like honestly. But since I'm more into like white, so I don't really find okay, I'm like missing something in that way. So definitely, I will say, but I have experience in teaching Asian guys in New York, and definitely there, if you have game, because the question is how you approach and escalate different. So if because the culture is definitely very open there, and I was even shocked like how easy it is to get laid in places like New York in the daytime scenario. Once you escalate and logistics in handle. This guy, it was interesting that he met like he met some Asian girls, white girls, but Asian girls, it was the same thing. It was easy. But then he also met one girl. She was outside. She was migrated from another part of from Asian country. I will not say which because that infielded I will release also. So that girl was she didn't he didn't got late with this girl immediately, but they have a very good girlfriend boyfriend kind of connection with that girl, this guy and this girl, and he said to me that he's enjoying with this girl much more time. So definitely if the girl is from outside, like from, then she is not yet her mind is not yet polluted, and she is still feminine and like maybe like traditional kind of slightly conservativeness, and going for that kind of this long term kind of thing is there.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Any other comments on this?
I mean, I
Yeah,
just generally encourage my students to be open to dating all women, Asian, Black, white, Latina. Like that just opens up your options and not necessarily to be narrowly specific to, oh, I must be Asian motherland or Asian American. Because, harkening back to what Danny was saying, like the exact statistic is something like 54% of American-born Asian women will outmarry, right? So whenever you are approaching an Asian American girl, it's sort of like, what is her in crowd? Because there will be, a lot of Asian American girls that want to date Asian guys. And then you'll run across those girls that specifically just like hate Asian guys, right? And they'll make it known, you can't always tell. While going back to what Mike was saying, sometimes when you approach Asian, fob girl who isn't used to being approached, it's sort of like pulling teeth. So I think the best bet is for any Asian guys out there that just want to learn dating is like, just be open to dating, approaching, all women, regardless of their race.
Yeah. Well, if you're a beginner, like you're a homeless guy, like don't be picky on what kind of food people eat. Like you gotta be like, you can't be fucking picky, bro. You're a 31-year-old virgin. Fucking talk to everybody. There's nothing worse than a guy that has zero experience that just has all these standards. Like, bro, like we're not at a Victoria's Secret runway model. Like there's a reality to like what's out there. So yeah, open to whoever.
Yeah, I agree with Mike also. Like when you are not, I'm agree with what you're saying, Mike, because if you are not getting laid, then you have to start your counter, and even if it is not the best quality girl, you're getting laid in the start. Just get the experience and level up the quality with the time. It will increase the quality when you improve your looks, your game, and everything. That the quality will also start to increase. Yeah.
Quick question. Is the audience for this video other Asian guys or white guys that want to date Asian girls? Or like, is there like a
I guess we'll find out
What-
when when it's published. I don't know, but you
What
know, the game global community, it's global, but well, you know,
Oh.
with China, they don't really tend to
I
have
mean,
access to Facebook, Telegram necessarily, as far as I know, but they use different kind of platforms. So
it's your
there
audience,
is a
right?
bias. Yeah, effectively. But we have a lot of Americans, we have a lot of Asian Americans. We'll just see who drops in the comments and tells us. So let us know. I
I
suppose.
do have one thing to add about gaming Asian girls in the U.S. Um, okay, so at least in Vegas, I think a lot of Asian groups are rather large social circles. So you go to a club and there's like, I don't know, Asians like to roll like in giant
Oh,
10,
deep.
20 groups. And I would say Asian guys in those groups tend to be more overly protective than any other race. Like statistically, if I open a bunch of girls from LA and the girl is showing interest, there's a high likelihood some dude who's friend zoned in that group is gonna try to pull her, like fuck up my set and just like ruin the interaction. So I think it's really important to like if
That's
you're
why
gonna
talk to the guy first.
if you're gaming Asian groups, in the US, you have to like manage the group. You got to make sure to build comfort. You don't want to overly sexualize. Sometimes I see this a lot in students where they meet a girl and she had a few drinks and they're like all up on the student and they get really excited. They're like, oh shit, I haven't touched a girl in 6 months. Let me unleash all this Kino on this one girl. And then her friends see it. And then they're like, oh, no, 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 no. You're going to go back to. So even if the girl's down, a lot of times you kind of have to de-escalate with Asian girls. You're like, oh, your friends are watching me. Let's tone it down. Let's wait till we go somewhere one-on-one before we get more physical. And what else? Also with Asian girls, I noticed a lot of Asian girls put a massive wall on the front end. I think talking to white girls, there's more checks and balances throughout the interaction. So if you're looking at the escalation curve, it's kind of like they're used to talking to strangers. So it's like there's multiple smaller walls. With Asian girls, it's like stranger danger. But somehow when you can like get over that initial hump, they don't know what to do. It's like a lot of times, I'm sure Deepak likes the whole getting laid. Like if you can get past the initial 20 minutes and you end up alone with a girl, a lot of times it's actually really easy to carry it to end game because she's so used to just rejecting dudes within the first 5 minutes that when you get past that, it's almost like there's no like they don't know how to handle it, and it usually just goes pretty straightforward. It's pretty smooth. I don't know. Would you guys kind of agree with that, or do you guys have any inputs?
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of Asian-born girls, I find that they don't want to do any PDA. Like zero. I've dated a girl like that. Like no touching, no kissing in public. But once you're actually private, like they are ready to go wild,
Yeah.
right? So there is a cultural nuance of Asian-born girls versus Asian American for sure. And obviously in a group setting, when there's like guys and girls in, Asians rolling deep, you definitely have to be aware of that mate guarding. Like I used to go to like these Asian clubs and like end of the night, there'd always be like Asian dudes fighting. Like they just get drunk, they're whatever, they're frustrated and they just get into a fight because like some guy's talking to some girl that's part of this group. So yeah, like there are absolutely nuances when it comes to like Asian American, Asian born. You have to be aware of like the male dynamic in the Asian group. So like I said, it's better to open up your dating pool so that way you don't have to be like this very just, having to like diffuse minds in a small in group when you could just expand your horizons.
Mike, you were targeted by a particular journalist a few years back. Danya Hajjaji, 3 weeks
Yeah,
after her.
Yeah. She got another dating coach to commit suicide. This journalist is pretty
Yeah,
fucked up.
I was gonna say that. And 3 weeks after her Newsweek article was published, her hit piece on Tom Torero was published. And he was dead just weeks after that, just before the end of the year. Yours was October, his was November, and he was dead in December. What are your thoughts on the Tom Torero thing, and how did you deal with the hit piece you were also subjected to?
I don't give a fuck, man. My life is good. I'm very like I love myself. I would never kill myself in case I'm found dead. But yeah, man, a lot
Uh,
of these journalists, you already know, like, dude, Newsweek, it's all fake news. At the end of the day, they're trying to drive clicks and they literally follow a template. I'm sure they hired some assistant just like, let's take all Mike's 300 videos out of context, put it together, write a mashup. So I mean, I have a program called Immersion where people live in my house, right? For my own safety and for the safety of the clients, the girls, I gotta have security cameras like in my room. There's like public areas. I have one in the kitchen, one in the living room, one in and I can't always control what guys are doing in my house when I'm not there. Sometimes they meet a girl and things escalate while they're playing on the PlayStation. This shit happens in front of the living room, right? So theoretically, things get caught on camera. It's not that I'm recording any of these on purpose. It's just like I have security cams in my house and things get recorded for everybody's safety. And so that was like, basically the article was saying that, oh, like I'm making sex videos and I'm selling sex. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm selling coaching. A lot of my guys have gotten girlfriends, have gotten married. I've been invited to weddings. That's not what I sell. I'm not an Asian porn star. Sorry. Like, that's not what I'm here for. But yeah, so at the end of the day, I think you know, maybe my marketing could have been a little bit more family friendly. But I keep it real. I mean, at the end of the day, nothing really happened to me. Just it's almost good. Like nobody cares who Asian people date. Like it's the best thing ever. You know what I mean? Like I like being low key. It's like it doesn't matter if I'm dating white girls or Latinas. Like just people don't like that news article got like 3 likes. And it was like a nationally published. So but yeah, I think as dating coaches, maybe don't put as many infield content, don't show as many like students pulling and things like that, clean it up. But I think we're all kind of like OG coaches. We actually have like footage of us and students going out. I don't like the way the current trend in dating is going, which is like short form content of just angry podcasters yelling at OnlyFans girls. I think it's taken a downgrade from, what dating was like a decade ago. So
Oh yeah,
I don't
for
know.
sure.
Any other questions for that?
Um,
Fortunate,
I
right?
have I have like few things about Tom Torero. If I made a video about Tom Torero and he did died, and it's a sad thing. But I am following these London guys, London dating LDM model and everything from 2010, 11 time. I know these guys. So the Tom Torero case is very, very unique, very different. I can explain in a short. So there was the time when they were going to second world countries, and it was like, British guy is going to some easy country, getting lays, and everything was good. And as the time changes, 2013, 14, it was good time, golden era. By 16, 17 around, what happened, it started to that like you being British in like second world countries like Poland or like Latvia and all these places, it is getting tougher and tougher. And with the Tom, he has put all his cards in day game. Me and my some other friends were talking about, we said like he's not doing any looks maxing. He's just completely dedicating his all life in day game. Like when you're putting all your cards and you start to see that the results are slowing down and you're not able to use that British card that much now, because it is now everything is on the internet and things are getting globalized. So that was a parallel factor going in his life. And by the time in 2018, 19, it was because that's why he started, if you remember, he started this going out with his van. And for example, he is going out in some German city or in Switzerland, parking van somewhere near to the logistically, it is very easy, approach the girl and taking the girl in the van, have this adventure. Why? Because it was already started to get tougher for him to get laid. So he made this kind of logistically, it make the things easier. And then like it became tougher and tougher. By the time this article came out, his all the stuff was actually offline. He was not online actually. His channel was completely private. So then the stuff came out. So I think the one of the reason was that he was also depressed because he was not getting laid in the end of his time. Maybe
I think
that
it's probably I think people are depressed not because they're not getting laid. I think it's just he probably had like other issues like
it
depression.
can be other issue. It can be other issue, but imagine you put all your focus in the day game. Even
Yeah.
for me, for example, I'm very much like into day game, but I take care of other things also in my
Yeah.
life.
But I think ICE's main argument is more about like journalists attacking dating coaches.
So that part play a role. Definitely that part play a role. But that is if a guy is getting late, then that the Tom Torero is not going to. If somebody's guy is getting late a lot, and some journalist is writing something for someone,
of course, yeah,
nobody
it's pretty
cares.
fucked. Like getting a hit piece on you when you know the truth and it's not accurate and it's taken out of context, of course is gonna fuck with you. Like Hicks is somebody with a lot of, I mean, I'm doing very well in life. Like I can just disappear, I can go where the fuck I want. So
Yeah,
I'm
but he was.
very emotional. But yeah, for any regular person, getting a hit piece is like very
But he was out of the dating system. He was not teaching. He was already having a ski instructor
but
job in
they don't, yeah.
Switzerland.
These journalists don't care. They're not here writing truths. They're trying to get views. I mean, Newsweek gets paid from advertising. So at the end of the day, it's just like it's not about. Yeah, I think a
Let me
lot
just
of Mr. Scums.
wrap this little question up. So the funny thing is, actually, Justin and me also had some bad media coverage.
Yeah.
Mine was a few months before yours. It wasn't Newsweek or anything.
Yeah.
But my face was in a 2-page giant newspaper thing. It took up a fucking quarter of it. They didn't even get my fucking name right. So, when you read something about you, well, they didn't even get my fucking name right. So what else is bullshit? Turns out basically most of it. The funny thing is they made this like a report and they took a screenshot of some guy saying nice things about Asian women, funny enough. And they were calling him a racist, but the guy who said it was Asian. So, no, you're the fucking racist for saying an Asian is racist for saying nice things about Asian. What the fuck? It makes no sense. But anyway,
it feels like a personal attack, but at the end of the day, we're just part of a narrative, right? We're just part of a mainstream narrative where I just got caught in the path. And ultimately, it probably didn't even matter who they picked as the article. And, I think BBC, Newsweek, all the London people, they just have a vendetta against guys that are talking to people during the day. So, yeah, I don't even think any of this was personal to me or Tom. It was just like we happen to fit a narrative and they went with it.
Let me just throw in a last question for anyone who's about to go. How about the height thing? We haven't talked about the height thing so far. So, especially, I'm not sure in particular, but maybe it's more of an East Asian stereotype that Asians are small. If you're Chinese, Korean, Japanese, you might be small and so on. What are your perspectives on the height thing? Does it matter? What can you do about it? And so on.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm 5'4". I'm probably the shortest one here.
Oh, wait.
I'm about to say, I got to roll out in like 5 minutes. Sorry, Justin.
Sure.
I don't know how to tell you. Like, I'm 5'5", so I'm definitely on the short side, and especially in the West where there is a very strong height preference. I always tell my students, like, you have to have a command presence, like the way you approach in whatever manner, indirect, direct style, how you come up should typically be like significantly more dominant than say you're normally comfortable with, just to kind of counteract whatever perceptions, whether it's stereotype or like a height preference. Like I love like tall queens. The taller the better for me. Like it's just something that I enjoy. But it does come down to, if you are a short guy, while there are certain things you can quote unquote, like height max and looks max and sexual market value, it all comes down to like, can you bring a command presence? This is typically why I like direct game, but any kind of style of game can work so long as you bring a presence, a personality, a charisma, a charm about yourself that overcomes any sort of like unconscious bias that she might have. Now, there will still be women that will always prefer a tall guy, regardless, right? But there are ways to, at least from your personality, give the perception, the feeling, if you will, that you are larger than life. So yeah, sorry guys. Appreciate being on the panel. Thank you so much to Ice White. Thanks to all the other great coaches on here. But I've got to head out and teach another workshop. Yeah, you know, keep up the good work, and, you know, check out all the great videos that Ice has on his YouTube. Later,
Thanks for
guys.
coming.
Okay, see you, bro.
Good to have you here.
Yeah, so back to talking about the height stuff, right? I mean, I'm 5'4". I'm pretty much, most women I meet taller than me. My girlfriend's taller than me. Side chick's taller than me. They're all taller than me. And I don't think it really even matters. I think really what matters the most is how you make a woman feel, right? And there's so many other attraction triggers that are so much more greater than height, right? So if you didn't have game, you don't have a character development, you haven't actually worked on yourself, you haven't worked on other areas of your life, you haven't worked on your fitness, you haven't worked on your personality, right? And if height is all that you have or don't have, then sure, it matters to a certain degree. But if you have all these other things going for you, then it's such a small status indicator that it doesn't really matter, right? So back to what JT was saying, you know, if you have this commanding presence, amazing personality, and you bring a bunch of other characteristics and attributes to the table, I mean, women aren't walking around thinking, oh, I need a guy to be this tall. Maybe a certain percentage of women are thinking like that, but it's such a small minority group of women that are actually thinking like that. Most women don't really even think of that, right? Most women who are looking for a partner, boyfriend, husband, whatever, they just want a man that they're compatible with, that they can love, right? And that they can have a connection with. So, you know, you're not going to get disqualified for being short if you have all these other high value characteristics and traits that women find attractive, right? But if all you have is your height and your looks and you're a short guy, then, you know, maybe you'll get disqualified because of your height, or maybe that's just what the girl's telling you, right? But it's really because your lack of charisma.
Yeah, I will say, like, when it comes to, you know, sometimes it can happen, the height thing can play factor, but if something like this happen, then you will be on the right on the face, you will see the rejection. But I see is like that, if somebody is short, then there are some, he can play to disadvantage. For example, in the technical game, the escalation, he can get away with more escalation because the girl will be less intimidated by him. So he can get away with more escalation. When he is pulling the girl, then it will be easier, slightly easier for him, because the girl will be less likely to get like intimidated. Oh, this small guy is like taking me, I don't know what's going to happen, compared to a, like, you know, black guys pulling the girl. So in that way, I can say, like, if somebody is like focusing on that part, of course, like Justin is saying, charisma and all the stuff he has to also work on. But in the technical game, these are the things play a big role when you're taking the girl home. If the girl is like giving you less resistance, she come with you, open the bottle of wine, and then she will forget about your height anyway. At that time, you escalate the girl, the girl will be not really getting that much intimidating. But when you are escalating, she's getting aroused, and that you can use it to your advantage, something like that. So I will say, like, whatever the disadvantage you have, use it as advantage, simple as that. Because height is something, now just crying about height, and like, it's not making any sense. So we have to think positively.
Yes, sir.
You can you want to go? I'll go last on this.
Okay, I'll go real quick. So yeah, I totally agree with everyone else who mentioned, you know, the height isn't such a big deal unless, you know, you don't have any other attributes. But one thing I do want to mention is that I always tell people, you know, what would you do differently if you were your dream height, like let's say 6 foot, right? And they would say, yeah, approach that girl, talk to that girl at the gym. I would dress better. I would work out more, probably get a better job. And then I was asking them, why aren't you doing these things right now? You know, just because you're not 6 foot tall doesn't, these things make you a lot better if you were doing those things. So it's a lot of it. They feel like even though they're not tall enough, they can't do other things as well now. They have a handicap on these other aspects of life, which isn't true. And once you're able to accept your height and like Deepak said, you know, use it as your advantage, because there's a lot of advantage being a shorter guy. Like a lot of girls like shorter guys, you know. And one of my best friends is Indian. He's 5'2". He's probably like the most charismatic person ever. He, you know, every time we go out, you know, all the girls talk to him. So there's nothing wrong with being a little shorter than most people.
Sounds like you're describing Justin.
It's funny. I've actually lost clients because you know, I'm 6 feet tall. I think some of the clients don't relate to me, but I would say, look, if you're on the shorter end, it is harder. You're gonna have to work hard at the end of the day. I mean, all the guys that are getting results, you can tell they maxed out on the other areas of their life, right? So I think in general, common knowledge, dating truths are common knowledge, right? So you're gonna have to work harder, but the good thing is, like everybody says, different girls have different parameters for different attributes, right? Gold diggers have a higher parameter for money. Some girls have a higher requirement for height. Some girls have a higher, they value comedy more, right? So I think it's just thinking about a variable that you can't change is just a waste of energy, right? So at the end of the day, also a lot of these guys that worry about height, it's like, okay, how many girls you approach this week? Okay, you approached 1, 0. Okay, well, you could easily approach 100 girls this week. So is height going to give you 10,000% advantage? No. And also, like, I've had a lot of guys that are 6'2", 6'3" that are terrible with dating. Even for me, before I got into sort of this whole journey, when I was 28, 27, I've only been with 2 girls, right? And I was still the same height. So a lot of guys that are short think that, oh, height will automatically get you girls. But to be honest, you could go to China, get that lengthening surgery, and you still got to work on your game. So I think it's just goes back to I did a chart actually, because every student that applies for my boot camp, I ask them about their height and their leg count. And so I had a linear this video I'll send you later. I did a linear regression on like leg count by height. It's very insignificant. It's like 0.6 per inch or something. Like it's negligible. It's like 0.6 lays per inch of height. Like if you take an average of like the 1,000 data, it's so small. So, but I think, like I said, yeah, even if you had a disadvantage, you could either solve that just by talking to 10 more girls a week, right? So, people talk about, oh, well, we lost 20% here and there, but you can boost your odds by just 10xing your, you know, just the amount of inbounds or the amount of interactions you're making per week. So, yeah.
I love the fact that you made to see if there's a correlation between height.
So my background's chemical engineering. All I did was like analysis of variance and statistical reports. So like I'm a huge nerd when it comes to math. So.
Fuck yeah. Well, you're Asian. I just had to.
We're all good at math.
That's racist.
Yeah, damn it. Alrighty. Any other perspectives on this? Alright, let's move on. In the West, where do Asian girls hang out? So guess who asked this? An African guy. Actually, not a white guy, not an Asian guy. We need to find where these Asian girls are hiding. Just a little story before we get into it. I was in Lima, Peru back in, well, first was there in 2019, but in 2020, I went to a Chinese restaurant in Lima, and my wife's uncle saw these Chinese guys coming in, and they were like going upstairs, and he said in Spanish, "Those are the triads, fresh off the boat." Now, it's not quite relevant to the question, but I just felt like saying that. It's like maybe there were some triads in a restaurant upstairs in the Chinese restaurant in Lima, apparently. But where are the Asian girls?
I mean, you got like in Toronto, you got Chinatown. So, I mean, if you want Asian girls, there's Asian clubs, there's Asian venues you can actually go to. So there's specific venues that will have more of that crowd, you know, or certain neighborhoods that will have more of that.
I mean, that's about it. You know, we like bubble tea, so boba shops, tapioca, even 85 degrees. That's a bakery, so stuff like that. Like Justin said, Chinatown is a big one, especially during nighttime. Bars in Chinatown, perhaps.
Oh
And
yeah,
there's some
Yeah,
clubs.
I actually have a funny story. So I have an assistant. He's been working with me for a couple of years, and he's from like New Delhi. Okay, he was like watching my videos back in India, and so we were working together for a couple of years. We became pretty good friends. We don't really hang out too much outside of the work stuff, and it was pretty funny because you know he told me he's like all my friends are fans of your content. Like they all follow me on social media, watch my videos, right? And he said, you know, one of his friends who's like an Indian club promoter is doing an Indian club event, right? And he's like, dude, we want you to come. So I came out and it was pretty nuts. Like everyone there already knew me, but a lot of the girls even knew me. But I just thought it was really interesting because this was a couple weeks ago, I'd never been to an Indian themed club event. And it was just like all Indian girls. There was one white girl in the entire venue. And so it was completely the opposite of what I'm used to because when I go to the club, it's just white chicks, or it's like very diverse, mostly white girls, right? And so I just thought that was really funny because you know there's those specific type of events that you can go to. Like it depends on what city you're in, and obviously probably more common in bigger cities. But you know there are specific like nightclub events here in Toronto to meet Indian girls. There's specific nightclub events to meet Asian girls. So you know you could I'm sure you could find a parallel you know in London or New York or in any major city.
that's funny. Actually, I was just thinking, when I first moved to London, I was invited to a club night that some guy I met was running, and I was the only white guy there. I took a Romanian woman with me. She was blonde, red dress, absolutely beautiful. And of course, white guy like me, I turn up just as the club is fucking opening. I was like completely new to the city, and we were like the only ones there. But as soon as midnight comes, it's just African people, African people, African people coming in. And I'm like, oh, this is strange. And they're like, what the fuck? What's this redneck guy doing here in this Romanian one? It's just so fucking random. Alrighty, Mike, I was saying,
Okay, so
yeah,
place
in the
to
West,
meet
where do
Asian
Asian
girls.
girls hang out?
All right, so if you like ABG Vietnamese girls, go to Houston. Vegas clubs, tons of Asian girls, especially electronic music, Millennium concerts. I think a lot of Asian girls go to music festivals to have some feels because apparently their parents never hugged them, so they go to festivals to release their emotional outlets. Um, LA is good. Bay Area, Temple nightclub is good. New York, there's a place called Den Social. Seattle's got a lot of Asian girls. Universities, Orange County, a lot of places. Downtown LA, I used to go to this club called Belasco. It was all Asian. Was all Asian themed. This is back like 10 years ago, so I don't know if it's still relevant or not. But yeah, I think the best bet is just Vegas nightclubs, man. It's probably 40-50% Asian girls, especially when a big DJ is playing. And like everybody else says, large cities, I think Asian people just like to congregate in major metropolitan areas.
Yeah, that makes sense. Aisen was talking about like bubble tea places. I was also thinking a Korean woman I was dating took me to a bingsu place, like a Korean ice cream kind of thing. And my name in Chinese is Bing Bai. So like I found Korean restaurants, for example, Korean ice cream places. Um, Maybe not so much Chinese restaurants because they're just everywhere in general. But yeah, that's just my experience.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Anything else?
Wait, is your wife Chinese or Asian? How do you know so much?
So actually, here's the funny thing. My wife's nickname is China, which is China in Spanish. She's Native American, from Peru. So she's
Oh,
like
that makes sense why you're in Peru.
but she
Okay.
has an Italian name, so it just gets strange. But she's like Spanish, Chinese,
Yeah.
Peruvian, Italian, something like that.
Yeah, I think boba shops are okay if you're gonna take a girl on a date. Like it's a girl that you've already interacted with. I don't think there's enough volume at a boba shop for you to be like running game, right? It's just you're gonna blow out the whole place and be that. And also like most boba places, most girls are already with the people that they know. So it's like it's hard to like you want venues where there's high turbulence and like people moving around and not like you don't want to go to a venue where like everybody's locked into their own groups, right? You want like groups of 2 or 3 and they're moving out and about. It gives you more opportunities to like approach different groups and demographics. If they're just like stagnant staying there, it's really obvious. Like if you're running guns blazing, like everybody knows what you're doing. So that's why I tell people like volume matters. If you're a guy that's starting out and trying to get better with with women, you need to be in high volume places. Sometimes I'll get guys like, can I do Whole Foods? Can I meet girls at the gym? Those are great places if you're already good. It's not a place where you ramp up your skill. Because to be honest, like you need to be talking to hundreds, if not thousands of girls to become competent. And it's just, yeah, how many girls are you going to meet at Whole Foods? You're not nothing, right? That's why Vegas Club, 2,000 women. You can talk to like 30 girls in a couple hours. You just get the volumes and reps in. So, I also personally do not like all Asian clubs. Okay, whenever you're in a homogenous club with one specific race, negative stereotypes kind of show up. I've been at an all black club. Approaching a girl at an all black club with like every brother staring at me, that shit's fucking scary, right? So whenever you're at all, like I think the best clubs are the ones that have everybody, because the girls are more open minded, right? You just go to all Asian club, it's kind of stupid to be honest. Like if you're a white dude and you're at an all Asian club, it's like, well, why the fuck? Why are you there, dude? It's just awkward. That's my take. Don't go to all Asian.
I agree, man.
Go somewhere where there's like a little bit of everybody. Better.
But for this person, I think he's African, right? You said Ice. This
Oh,
person
it doesn't matter. It's just
if you're a
that's the
black
person
dude
who
and you're
asked the
going to
question.
all Asian club, that's the
No.
dumbest thing I've ever.
So from what I'm saying is like he could actually might be better off going to an all black club. And if you see an Asian person there at an all black club, then that means that person is probably into black people.
Sure. Yeah.
So maybe you could just do that.
Black Punji,
or just ended up there accidentally, just like I did.
Well, I'll say
Like,
if you're black,
I didn't know everyone was going to be African.
you're. What was I gonna say? There's like 1% of Asian girls that are really into black. You just gotta find those pockets. Unfortunately, I'm Asian, so I don't know where those pockets are. There's that 1% that just really like Japanese girls or Korean. They just love black dudes. I don't know.
You can tell like most of the time they're thick. They got braids on. And they have an attitude towards them. But anyways,
yeah.
Great point.
Another example similar to what Aisen was saying. I also remember I went to a teppanyaki first time I ever went. For anyone who doesn't know, those Japanese places where they have like the grill and the chef does all this crazy shit with stuff and there are fucking fires and everything. I went to one in Lima in Peru, and Peru actually has a very large Japanese population, one of the biggest diaspora of Japanese population. But in there, it was mostly Japanese people. So that's when I also remember it wasn't the same case when I went to a teppanyaki in London. It was just like mostly white people. But yeah, I guess there could be some subtle differences. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. I fucking love this one. There are guys who use their ethnicity as an excuse as to why they can't get women. What's your advice for these guys?
Yeah, I mean, there's guys that will use all kinds of excuses for all kinds of things to just stay comfortable where they're at, right? It's like a fat dude complaining, oh, I can't get, you know that stereotype of like fat Americans are like, oh, I'm big boned, right? It's like the same thing, right? There's a lot of people that wants to just rationalize why they don't get results in life in general, right? So you'll see a lot of guys that are, you know, rationalizing, oh, I'm Asian or I'm Indian or it's, you know, girls are racist or whatever, right? And they're rationalizing why they can't get results because it's easier to just sit there and rationalize rather than to go put in the fucking work and take action, right?
I agree. It's just an excuse.
Yeah, the thing is, I will say like the guys use ethnicity excuse. So sometimes like with Indians, I don't know how much it is in with Asians, but this Indians still have like this slavery kind of mindset, and that is also contributing to this factor that they see themselves, you know, the like praising the Western white men slightly higher than them, and they see themselves a bit lower, and that also when they are in the West, that comes to that factor that they are like when they're not getting laid, then they say that like you know they this is. Uh, our race because of we are Indians, we are not getting laid. So this like there are like multiple factor in this in this you know in this situation. So one is like how they think. They think themselves lower than the West. When you are thinking already that you are lower than a Western European person or a white person, then something is already missing in you and you want to be like them. When you try to be like them, then the girl see this thing. The girl will always see that there is something is missing in you. You are not proud of who you are. uh, and that's why this is one of the inner game problem with when they say like because of our ethnicity we are not getting laid. uh, uh, and then like you know this we say the perception of especially the Indians and Asian, like what how the West see, which is slowly changing, but it will still take time. Where I would love to see when Indians and Asian will be seen as a very high SMV guys. Definitely that would be taking a lot of time, but it can happen if we believe in ourselves, if we believe our core identity, then it can change. Definitely it can change. It will take decades or maybe like maybe not this lifetime, maybe another, but but we have to start somehow. So this is how I see that like the Asian guys for Asian should do, and Indians should do for Indians. So we have to work for our yeah, like loyal to the tribe, loyal to a race, and work to improve the self-esteem of our people. Yeah.
I love being Asian. It's like the best ever. I don't know why people complain about being Asian. It's fucking awesome. I love it. It's great. Like, just number one, like the fact that we look 10 years younger. Like, think about it. You're just increasing your dating span by over a decade. Like, I'm 40, I'm 41, I'm turning 40.
Holy
And
shit.
I have no problems going up to 21-year-olds, like, and they don't like, you know what I mean? You don't understand, like, time is the most valuable thing on the planet. Just increasing your dating span by like 10, 15 years, it's insane. Like, you know, when I started this dating journey, I was 27, right? So the girls that I was meeting, you know, 21, 20 at the time, like, I still look exactly the same. I can eat pizza and cupcakes every single day and look exactly the way I am, right? Have you ever seen girls that you met at the club 10 years ago and what they look like now? Like, dude, just being able to look the same, dude, it's like such a valuable, like, you know. And also it's just like whenever we're going, we never have to deal with like law enforcement. We don't have to deal with people giving us bullshit. People just assume we're law-abiding citizens. I mean, we are, but like, just people give us the benefit of the doubt. You know, whenever I get pulled over, it's just like I usually just get a warning. You know, yeah. There's like, I think every race has the pros and cons. It's like playing. You guys play video games? You know, it's like playing Diablo. You know,
I
you got the
play, yeah, I
barbarian,
play,
you got the
yeah.
mage, you just got to work on your strengths. But also, like, we have so many things that like are beneficial. Like, number one, we have high IQ, we're high earners. I think like Indians and Asians are literally like the average salary is 50, 60% higher than the average, right? Just use that money, work on yourselves, right? Like a boot camp is what, a couple grand? If you're making 6 figs, you can literally unfuck your life with 3% of your annual salary, right? There's so like think about being stuck in your socioeconomic level. Like you're trying to learn game making 40K a year, you can't afford gas, you don't have access to like high-end clubs. Dude, all my clients, all these Asian guys, they're just not utilizing their capital properly, right? They're just sitting on like, a Facebook salary, 300-400K a year, and they're not doing anything. If you just took 1% of your salary to work on your dating, like you can make monumental changes. So, but kind of going back to your answer, if you're the top 5% of any race, you're gonna get girls. The problem isn't being Asian. The problem is just being average. It's just like there's all races having massive success with women. So it's just it's like what Justin says, making excuses rather than taking action. And I have white students. You know what I'm saying? It's not like if your skin is more pale, like girls just naturally jump on you. It's like I get white guys, Latinos, black guys. Everybody has the same problems. Anyway, what take?
Damn, I'm getting the chills and I'm not even Asian.
One thing, like, with the money thing is also interesting because there is stigma attached. So I don't know, this some self-help guru says like we should not spend we should not spend money to improve our dating life, to give money to a dating coach or something like that. So it is interesting. When I was learning game in 2010, I started. So I was already 31 at that time. And then the problem was that I had like everything was going on with me, my career and everything. I was working in Volkswagen. And then I said, I don't want to waste time. I have everything. I just want to get laid. I want to get like girlfriend or something like that. So, okay, at that time it was RSD guys were like, in top of their game. So I said, okay, let's do the boot camp with, Tyler and, Branson, I think. Mike, these guys. So I did the coach bootcamp with them. I went to Miami and I saw that their system is not working for me. Okay, so I don't need to waste time. I have to find something else. Then LDM, I checked LDM, like coaching, buy their product, checked it. It didn't work out. So, and then finally I figured out what works for me and something like that. So if I would be having the mindset, oh, I will not save a single cent I find by myself, I will not spend money for any dating coach or something, I would be still virgin by this time. So I invested, okay, at least I knew at that time in 2010-11 that, okay, RSC system is not working for me. I don't need to hate them. All I care is like getting results, look for another system. So sometimes when the people says like we will, there are some guys, they literally think that I will not spend a like $49 per month for for any product.
Yeah.
But and they are like earning so much money, and I have to somehow figure it out how I get laid. So people are just, they think that money is so important for them.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I've probably spent over $200,000 over the last 10 years on personal development. Not just in dating, but like business, ayahuasca, like leadership, things like that. It's probably the best. Like investing in yourself is the biggest ROI.
Definitely.
I took a
Yeah, I want to say like, damn, Mike, you look great. 41, you look amazing. Great skin, great physique, beautiful. And I do agree, man. I was growing up when I first came to the States, I didn't want to be Asian. I was like, yeah, these kids are picking on me with my skin color, my eyes, all these things. I couldn't speak English at the time. I had to learn at 10 years old. It's tough. And but nowadays, I will wake up, I'm happy. I love being Asian because I live in Austin, right? So if I'm living in Austin, Texas, a lot of guys, 80%, 90% of people are white. And if I woke up as a white guy, I wouldn't have any advantages anymore. I would be like a regular average dude. Like you said, Mike, you don't want to be average. And but majority of my clients, when I asked them before in the very beginning, I'm like, hey, if I have a pill to give you tonight, and if you take it, you're gonna wake up as a white guy. Would you take it? They're like, yes, I want to take it. 90% of them want to take it. But then they got to understand, they got to embrace themselves first for being actually Asian, because we do have a lot of advantages. Imagine this. If I'm a single guy in my city and I'm like top 1% Asians, And the girls that are interested in Asians are going to be interested in me, right?
Yeah.
And funny thing is that I was out with my friend last year, and all the girls are paying attention to me. They're interested in me, and this guy was white, 6 foot tall white guy. He's like, "Hey, the only reason why these girls like you is because you're Asian." I'm like, God damn, that's craziest shit I've ever heard. It seems like everything just flip flops because
Yeah.
it's mindset. Back then, we wanted to be like white guys tall because that's what movies tell us, right? But no, it's like if you know your worth, then good things are gonna happen to you.
One thing I will say also, like for Indian Asians who are in the tech and everything, give some time, go to the like gym or do some combat sport, because capacity to do violence is very, very important. It is very, very attractive also. This is I've seen in my personal life also. The capacity to engage in violence or something like that. So for all Asians, for Indians like who are in the tech nerd in IT and all the stuff, so do some kind of combat sport classes or go to the gym or something. You look on your work on your physical fitness. That is definitely, I will say. And because when you know that you can win a battle in the physical fight or something, you will show some more. You will be showing really good confidence in the game also, in pickup also. That also reflect when you have less fear of going to unknown and physically strong. So I go to any place. I mean, I will not say like I can go to Pakistan or Afghanistan and start to approach girls, but I have no fear in going to like in European country all alone and gaming there, or in USA or anywhere else in the world. But I cannot say guarantee for like Saudi Arabia or like the conservative Muslim countries. So definitely like having the like this will also definitely help for Indians as well as Asians, because they are all like nerd and like Indians, like they are just like working, and somehow I think like what they will do with this all the money, if they are like just sad and depressed in their dating life, what they will do, when they will die, they will die with all the money will be staying in here on this earth. So this is so work on these things, work on like improving your game, your physical fitness, the confidence, enjoy the life. Yeah.
All right. Next one. I think Mike already answered this before I even asked it, and so perfectly. As a flip side to this question that we were just discussing, what are some ways being Asian has been an advantage in dating?
That's a great question. I think a lot of girls find, ethnic men exotic. Imagine this, right? If, your girl or a girl you meet grew up in the middle of nowhere in the country, she's just surrounded by white people. And now you're the first like ethnic man that she's met, and she's always been intrigued. You get to be a lot of women's first. So, I've experienced that a lot personally myself, right? Because Toronto is a hub. There's a lot of small towns like all around Ontario, and you'll have all these girls that move here for school, for work, and just being that guy, like Mike said, being that top 5% man, right? Doesn't matter if you're Asian or Indian or black or white, right? You're going to have a lot of these beautiful women that have never gotten a chance to meet a guy like you with your personality or with the ethnic heritage that you come from. So, I've been a lot of women's first. And I've even seen it to a point, maybe not necessarily in Toronto, a little bit, but I remember when I was in Mexico, I would, take girls home, Tinder dates, that kind of stuff. And I remember I would always notice certain things. Like I noticed this one lady, she had elephant tapestry and like a Buddha statue and like some sort of like Hindu chanting stuff. And I was thinking, damn, I'm just a fetish, right? Especially outside of a lot of Western society, like in other countries, like I know in Eastern Europe or in Latin America, Asians and Indians don't have the same negative stereotype as they would in, America or parts of Europe, right? Because there is no Asian or Indian guys in a lot of those places, right? So for a lot of these women, you're the first, Asian guy that they've met. right? And so they want to experience that, and they want to meet a guy like you. And again, a lot of these girls, maybe they grew up watching anime or listen to K-pop music, or maybe some of these girls listen to or watch Bollywood movies. Right? I was in South America recently. I was in Brazil, and I found out that one of the most popular TV shows that they had growing up was it was like an Indian show, right? And they imported that media into Brazil. And so, in Brazil, being, an Indian guy, you're kind of seen as, higher status. So in a lot of those places, being an Asian isn't directly an advantage.
Yeah, I will say like I will say um, definitely like the places where they are not seen as a negative stereotype, the Asians, Indians, there you will not get any penalty. For example, Central Europe, East Bloc, some part of Europe, that places definitely you will not get penalized compared to when you are in London or in USA or something. Definitely, uh, uh, where the stereotype is less negative, then you will be seen as normal, and then you can game. Where the stereotype is seen as more negative, then you have to work on your game, work on your confidence, and you can still get results. And there are some girls who will be into a particular stereotype, Asian or for example, Black, Indian. I have one example. I was coaching one German guy. It was in Europe, in some country. And then what happens, that girl rejected that my German student somehow. And then I saw this this white girl was with an Asian guy. Like after like 2 hours, I saw this girl and she was like dating or instant dating, but she was with an Asian guy. And I said like, what the fuck, this girl rejected my white student, and now this guy was just a normal Asian guy, this normal looking, he was not even like jacked or something. And then yeah, so something like this can happen. Yeah.
Like we already talked about, we have a lot of advantages. I feel like Deepak's insight really got me thinking about, I grew up in, I guess, Central Europe, Czech Republic, actually. So it's interesting because growing up, my parents would say, hey, like, they're very racist towards the Vietnamese people because they're, selling toys on the streets. They're not considered higher class, but whereas like they would get mistaken as being Vietnamese, and then the people would be really mean or rude to them. But for me, growing up there, I never felt any kind of racism. I was always like, I grew up in a small town, so everywhere I go, people recognize who I was. So, and that was cool. It's really how you see things and how people treat you based on how you treat yourself and how you value yourself as well. So, I wish that I have stayed in Europe, but I think I could have been president, to be honest, in that country. But reverting back to
actually, you saying that one of the presidents of Peru, Fujimori, he was a Japanese guy and president of a Native American country. So it does happen.
That's what I'm saying. And one of the things that I can't be a president is in America because I wasn't born here. So I was like, fuck, no, I can't be president anywhere. But anyways, I regress. Going back to the point, I love being Asian. My skin, I love the skin that we have. We tan so well, and just everything's good. Like we have a lot of advantages: good food, good parenting, great family structure, beautiful women. What else do you need?
All right, I want to add stuff. So in terms of this is interesting. We talk about stereotypes a lot, and I think stereotypes goes away when you make first contact and you actually have a conversation with the person. Usually when somebody's stereotyping you, they're looking at you from a distance. They don't really know you. So if you actually have a 10, 20-minute conversation with a girl, whatever stereotypes they have about Asians or whatever you look like from a distance, it's going to go away, right? And it's happened to me many times. Like, you meet a stranger. Let's just say I'm in New York. I see some dude in hooded jacket and baggy pants. I'm going to stereotype him like this guy's weird, homeless, whatever, right? But if I have a 10-minute conversation, he's like, oh, I went to Harvard and I study this and went like that. the second, like even 2 minutes into a conversation, whatever negative stereotypes that aren't true are going to go out the window, right? So I think a lot of guys just like don't worry so much about negative Asian stereotypes. If those don't apply to you and you're interacting with a girl, then they don't apply to you. And if they do apply to you and they're negative, then you should probably fix it, right? And then as far as advantages, a lot of times as students, they look at themselves because your only reference is yourself, right? Like obviously most guys aren't dating coaches. They're not talking to thousands of people. So whatever circumstances you have, you think that's like the worst, right? A lot of Asian kids think like, oh, my parents are the worst. They're oppressive. But if you look at all the families out there, I'm actually pretty lucky because when I was in my 20s going to college, I had my rebellious phase. I was like, oh my God, mom and dad, you guys are so controlling. You did this. But looking at some of my white friends, like, okay, my parents weren't alcoholics. They're still married. I didn't grow up in a single family. I didn't have to deal with drug abuse. I was financially, we didn't have any issues. I could just focus on academics. So I think in that area, like, I think all different races and families have different things they have to like struggle. And I think just the fact that we're raised well-adjusted, law-abiding, and career-driven is like huge, right? And also, if other Asian guys aren't getting results with women, what does that got to do with me, right? I might think that might even be an advantage, right? Like, it's just easier for me. You're not competing with you're just competing with like, right? It's not like if some other Asian guy gets results, that girl's automatically gonna like you, right? But think about it. Like, let's say America was homogenized. Let's say everybody in America was white. Just because another white guy has gets a lot of dates doesn't mean it's going to transfer to you, right? So I don't. It might even be advantageous that a lot of Asian guys are sitting at home playing League of Legends or Valorant or whatnot, and then that means the girls that are into Asian guys, the ones that actually take action, gets all the availability.
Cool, nice. Nice question. How can brown guys stand out if they want to date other ethnicities like white girls?
It's a good question. So one thing I always tell my clients is to break your stereotypes. So adding on to what Mike just said in the last question, right? Because there's so few brown guys, Asian guys getting immense results with women versus like, if you think about white guys, it's like on average, they're all getting average results with women. I find with the more ethnic guys, the Asian guys, the brown guys, it's just a smaller percentage of guys getting pretty much all the, hot girls, right? So I know in my city, for example, there's just a handful of brown dudes I know who I'm either friends with or not friends with, but they're tearing it up. And I've actually met up with these guys and talked to them about this. And we're like kind of almost compare notes, be like, there was a guy, I actually had beef with this guy for like 10 years. And we squashed it. We're cool now. And he was kind of pointing out how every time he pulls a girl, they always kind of say, oh, yeah, I've hooked up with Justin, right? It's because there's such a small percentage of guys, getting those results because, most Indian guys think it's out of the reality to hook up with white chicks, right? But what you got to do is you got to just break your stereotype. So things like getting tattoos, piercings, things that would break the negative connotation of what an Indian guy would be like or an Asian guy would be like, right? So the stereotype of a lot of Asian guys is, they're nerdy or they're shy or they're kind of docile, right? So be the opposite of that, right? Be a charismatic, fit, well put together, version of that, right? Or with Indian guys, a lot of Indian guys are seen as like cringy or just like, Bob's and Vagine, right? Like, don't be that guy, right? Be the guy who's, cool, got cool things going on for him, has a cool lifestyle, has an interesting value to offer from your personality or even, just your fashion, your grooming, your style, right? So one thing I always recommend Indian guys do to stand out and date other ethnicities is tattoos, piercings, and dress better. Just dress different. Do everything you can to differentiate yourself from the crowd. So here in Toronto, right, there's a suburb city called Brampton, and it's just dude, it's like a colony of fucking New Delhi, India, right? It's just Indian guys in turbans. right? It's almost like a famous city, like worldwide. Everyone knows the city as, you know, just an Indian city, right? That's where all the Uber drivers live, right? And the whole point is you want to fucking differentiate yourself from being one of those guys, right? Because, you know, in Canada, with the immigration policies, right now it's 80% Indian guys. It's pretty insane, right? It's just Indian guys, right? So if you actually look at the government statistics of what ethnic population is from what countries are immigrating to Canada, right now it's like 80% Indian international students, right? And so that's actually, you know, diluting, and it's making it worse, right, for the average Indian guy. But if you can be a guy that does stand out from that, you know, stereotype of all these guys, I mean, you're just gonna get all the results, right? Because, dude, I see it all the time. I see so many girls complaining about all these Indian immigrants, you know, coming here and you know taking the jobs and all that stuff, right? Because
all these Indian immigrants coming here wearing their fucking leopard print shirts. You're the only fucking Indian guy I have ever seen wearing a leopard print shirt. That's amazing.
That's funny. Yeah, so it's actually like it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem for me because like everywhere I go, I just see fucking Indian guys now, right? Here in Toronto, I don't know if it's as bad in the States. I know in America they kind of are, they more let in the highly educated, you know, Indian immigrants, but in Canada they let in more like entry level, you know, international students from India because of taxes and stuff like that, right? But you know, the reason I think I get such good results is because of my ability to stand out from, you know, the average Indian guy, right? And so back to what Mike said earlier today, if you're the top 5% of your ethnicity, you're going to get way better results. You know, just figure out a way to show that you're not average, right? Or show you're not the average guy, right? And you're going to become a lot more attractive to other ethnicities.
So yeah, so this is very interesting, and there will be like there are like two problems. I think like the question is brown guys for other white girls. Yeah, so there are like two problems we are facing. One is like deep like core belief system is wrong, and the outer game. So first we talk about like how the Indian people think. The problem with the Indian like Indians, the brown people, and I'm actually the immigrant. So what the problem they have, and even like the West-born Indians, origin guys, this slavery mindset, and this is something what happened in India in the past when the India got independence. So the culture, Indian culture was suppressed, and they were taught in India that white man is the West. The Western way of thinking is the West. Indian are like, you know, they have their culture is you don't need to proud of your culture. You have to be ashamed. So what happens? This is you will find only in India. So they hate even speaking in their own mother tongue. So they are ashamed of speaking in their own mother tongue. So when you are proud of when you speak in English, then and you're seen as a high value person, high status person, and when you speak in your mother tongue, when you are low value, low status person, then you see when you're going outside what kind of mindset you will be having. So this is the first problem Indians are facing, this slavery mindset. If you I learned from the examples, if you see from the all races, be it black, forget about like the white one, but when the all race, when it comes to like black, Asians, Indians, you know, three major races, which race fucks the most, you know, bang the most like white girls, you will find that like after white, the black people have the second number. They date white girls more than Indians and Asians. So now we have to think about what is the reason behind why they able to do it. So first of all, the black people, they are united. I mean, of course the Asians are also united, but Indians are not united at all. This is the first problem. The black people don't think like that. Oh, I want to be that white man and then I will date white girls. I want to be like them, and then I will get white girls. They don't think like that. They are proud of who you are. They are united. The Indians, they think like white way of thinking is the best way of thinking. This is we should go. So when they come to West, or even the West-born Indians, when they go there, they hate themselves. They will be. You will see like West-born Indian origin people will disassociate themselves from India compared to a Afro-American person, like to Africa. So why? Because they hate that identity. They want to be someone else. They want to be because they are not feeling like like proud of themselves from inside. So when you have this problem, your core inner belief, inner mindset is so weak, it is not gonna work. So this is the inner game. They have to think in a way that whatever they are, whatever from they're coming from, it is more than enough. They don't need to be ashamed. When they are not ashamed, when they are united, then people will see, other people, other races will see, girl will see this thing, and that will also help them in like raising up the self-esteem and also in dating. Now now is the outer game, which Justin is also saying, like breaking the stereotype, which is like in one way, like good game, charisma, having some tattoos, and like how much you can get out of the stereotype. So I will see, like I see this thing in a you have to change the core inner game mindset for Indians if you want to be successful, if you want to be respectful in your community. So there was a one interesting, like I'm working on some like some video, and I was checking on the internet. There was in America, there was a show in 80s, The Simpsons, and there was an Indian character, and
Apu?
Apu, yeah. So that was a very hardcore Indian accent, that guy. And I was and then he was made fun of, and then Indian stereotype was like seen as that, like that weird nerdy Indian stereotype. And then in I think 2018-19 around, somebody made like against it, and they removed the character. uh, Sometime so they were making fun of that Indian character, and seen as a comedy, and it was from 80s. So the question was, why the Indian community not united and stopped it when it's just started? That's the question. If something happens, like, because I saw something like in 20s and 30s, some Disney cartoon, when they were making fun of this African culture, but you don't see something like this in from the very, because the African people were united and they fight for themselves, you understand, to improve their stereotype. And this
Are they
is
united
something
though?
Indians are.
A lot of black on black crime.
What?
Kind of lost track. Are black people united? I don't know.
They are united in a one way. They are united because Black Lives Matter or something. They in that way, because there are always exceptions, but when it comes to Indians, they are not united the way black people are. It's the same thing. If you see the religion, why the Muslims are so strong? Because they are united. Something happens in Gaza, all the world start to fight. If something happened to a Hindu community in anywhere in the world, no Hindu take care about that thing. So you understand. Of course, the Muslims are also fighting with each other, but when it comes to overall unitedness, then you will find black people will be more united compared to Indians. In religion, also Muslims are more united compared to Hindus or even Christians.
You know what's interesting in dating? People always talk about society and like culture as a whole. If you're waiting for society to fix your dating issues, you're going to be waiting for thousands of years. I think the only thing you can change is yourself as a singular data point. Right? So it's like for example, health. If you want to get in shape, you can get in shape in 6 months by eating right and going to the gym, right? But if you want to get in shape, hoping that the U.S. government's going to have some amazing healthcare plan, you could be waiting for decades.
I'm not saying about the society. I'm saying about the inner game, the way the Indians should think. They should stop praising that Western way of thinking is the best. This is the only way they can. Because I'm not saying like you have to you should adapt to the situation, but you should not be ashamed of who you are. That's the main thing, because Indians are ashamed of who they are. That's why they think in that way, and that's the inner game problem they will face.
Okay, let's move on from this point. What is your favorite city for game? Name up to 3.
Vegas, the practice night game. Yeah, Vegas and New York. I think day game is good. Just big cities: LA, Vegas, New York, Miami. If you have over $20 million, Boston's decent. What about you guys?
Are we talking worldwide? Because if we're talking worldwide,
Oh,
I mean, there's some really good cities out there, man. Like, and it depends on what you're talking about practicing game. Because you're talking about just getting better at game, or you're talking about just getting laid. Because like fucking Medellin, Colombia is stupid easy. You know, Rio,
Or you might die.
Brazil, ridiculous. You know,
we might get
yeah.
robbed.
I mean, you might die, dude. I was in Rio and 3 different Tinder dates. Because what I would do is I'll call the Uber for the girls, right? It's like $3 to call a fucking Uber, right? And it just makes them come see you faster. Like this happened 3 different times. But I was only in Rio for 4 days. In 4 days, 3 different girls got robbed while waiting for their Ubers. But you know, at the same time, the girls are just super DTF, right? Or like Manila, Philippines, I think. So Rio, Manila, and Medellin, probably like 3 of the easiest cities in the world just to get laid in. But I mean, I wouldn't consider it a practicing game. You know, I think it's a good place to go to if you already have a good game.
Yeah, dude, everywhere is easy, man. As stupid as it sounds, like it's not that hard anywhere. I mean, the bottleneck is your game. Like, to be honest, and also I think a lot of people put so much emphasis on like going to the best place. Just fucking go anywhere, man. Just find a plane ticket that's on sale, find somewhere that's got a good deal, and just enjoy the process and have a good experience. I think people like, it's not like you're gonna only have one trip your whole life, right? Just go on travelzoo.com, see if you find a good deal, and just fucking go. If you don't like it, you know, it's a couple days. You know, go to Latin America, 2-3 hour flight, 5 hours max. And that's the beauty of it. I go to places that are terrible at game. Like I went to Tanzania. It was fucking amazing. Went to climb Kilimanjaro. There was like no women. So but yeah, I agree with all the things Justin said. Just Latin America, Southeast Asia, they're all good. But I do think you should get good in the West before you go overseas, because when you take shortcuts, your brain just becomes like, it just gets fried. Like you can't go, like trying to teach a rich guy who pays for plays or does sugar baby to like cold approach is the hardest fucking thing. Like you just don't get it. They're like, why do I have to like try when I can just get some 21-year-old 10 to come straight to my house? So yeah, learn it the right way, because I do think that if you go overseas, if you're not situationally aware, you could dig yourself in deep trouble. I think a lot of girls overseas, they're talking to a lot of dudes. So sometimes you can get outmatched. So practice in America, practice with the girls that are giving you real feedback. So you have an aware, you know, like if you're a guy who's never had girls, and then you go to Medellin, Colombia, and 2 girls just offered a threesome to come to your house at 3 a.m. Well, a regular guy with experience is going to be like, interesting, red flag. Like maybe this is too good to be true. I should be screening. But some newbie is going to be like, oh, wow, this is amazing. And then they get robbed. And then somebody goes into their Coinbase account and steals all their crypto. And I think always learn it learn it the hard way. The way I say is like, well, you put in the work on the front end, you save yourself trouble on the back end. You're always paying a price, right? Guys that get into relationships, they get into marriage without properly learning game, they're paying the price on the back end. So I think, yeah, don't just go overseas thinking that you're going to get laid. I mean, you probably will, but learn the fundamentals back home first.
Yeah, I will say definitely agree that learn to get laid in the local city where you are living, and when you have some confidence, then you can, because sometimes you have a job that you cannot leave your city. So it's better to first learn the game in the local city where you're living, and then here and there, if you want to holidays and something, you can do the game. But get the food where you live first. Get good in that place, and then uh, if you can travel, you can travel. If you relocate yourself, okay. But that's something I will say in this thing, like the best cities where you are living.
I agree. You don't have to go out of your way to meet women. But I am biased though, because I am from Austin, and we have the highest percentage of singles between 20 to 30 in America. So, and based on all the places I've ever lived, LA, China, Europe, where else? Miami, right? All these places I've ever been to, New York, I like Austin the best because the energy there is different. Energy Austin is amazing. Everyone's friendly. They would compliment you. A random person would just tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, I love your style, and just give you a smile, right? It's just the energy is so amazing. And if you're an Asian guy looking to date outside of your race, everyone is so open-minded. We have a lot of Asian, Indian, brown tech people there, and everyone values education. The University of Austin, the University of Texas is based in Austin, so everyone makes the average income is like 80K, 78K a year, and everyone is just basically six figures or a six-figure earner. So like if you go there with an education, with money, and with a good attitude, you're going to do really well in Austin.
How long you been in Texas?
20 some years.
Okay. Yeah, you got that like Asian Matthew McConaughey voice.
Thank you. All right, all right.
All right, all right, all right. Moving on then. What are some concepts in the pickup community that people get completely fucking wrong? So for example, DHVs, shit tests, whatever your opinion is.
So yeah, okay, I start. Like, so a lot of things people get it wrong. One of the biggest thing I've seen the problem, this is like people don't understand how the game works properly, and this direct game thing, and they say like the even like majority of dating coaches think in a way that like for themselves how it should look. So when I see that game, uh, when you say like how I explain it, like a direct game, this is the concept, like, go to the girl and say you are cute or you are attractive or something, and then she will say to you yes or no. In this way, you are authentic, and then you are true, you are honest, you will get her answer, and that's it. And she will say yes or no, and this is should be your game. But the game is about if the girl is rejecting you, then you go for the another girl. But the concept of game is also like how efficiently we can get the result. Also, if there is a problem, if we can solve this problem, and can we able to find another way to solve it. So what I teach guys, what I tell guys to maximize the face time when they're talking to the girl. It is not about how they approach, how they open. They have to start talking to the girl, get the maximum face time, because more the face time, more the conversation is going, more it is more they have chances to 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 give the right emotion to the girl, which is required by her to get attracted to that student or that guy. And that is, for that we require the time. And if we have a short time in the direct game, we just go yes or no. It is very short time, and that's why this concept of this going out and say what you want from the girl and answer based, like, she will say yes or no or whatever, and then play the game. So this is concept need to be changed. People need to understand it is not about like just say what you really feel about like you direct game or something like that. Focus on having a conversation, it is not about like indirect, direct, neutral, whatever, situational. And during that conversation, have the set the right emotion to the girl that makes the girl to find that person attractive. Yeah. So this is the first concept people need to correct in game, and other dating coaches need to correct. Yeah.
I'll go next.
There. Yep.
So most of the stuff that you mentioned, that's like old school pickup, right? It's like mystery method era. So I'll say one thing. I do think a lot of this is very overly complicated for most beginners, because when you have all these concepts in your head, you're just not present when talking to girls. Also, mystery, I got to give him credit. He was kind of like the father of pickup and dating, whatever, the POA community. He's a very insecure man, right? So he has a lot of inner game issues. And that's why he built a lot of sort of DHV shit tests. He's kind of like bypassing his sort of inner game, right? So I think guys that follow hardcore mystery method, they tend to just take forever to get results. Some of these new guys, you take them out, like, back in the day, like if you read the game, it took guys like a year to finally make shit happen. Right now, it's like you go on a boot camp and guys are getting results left and right. So I think a lot of this is just overcomplicating. And also the thing with dating advice is like nothing's ever completely wrong or completely right. It just depends. It's very nuanced, right? Two people can say the exact same thing. One guy will make a girl laugh and the other guy will like get the girl to call the police. So I would say the most important thing is just like don't learn dating in a vacuum. Like one of the things that helped me a lot was, back then when I had a YouTube channel, I would interact with girls and I'd put it on the internet and I would give feedback, right? And it's so like obvious, like that you shouldn't be learning dating in a like a contained chamber, right? It's a social thing. You should be getting out there. But yet so many people are just purely relying on Reddit for dating advice. And so basically what happens is you kind of go off on your own tangent. Like you overvalue certain advice over other advice, and you don't have other people to steer you in a more like grounded direction. And I think it's also really important to hang out with guys that are good with women that aren't in the pickup industry. There's a lot of guys that are really good with women that never read any of these like books, right? There's naturals. There's guys that are in the club promoter industry. There's guys in the fitness industry. There's musicians. There's artists. All of these archetypes are good with women. So it's very important to like get balanced perspective from different elements. I think that's what helped me become well-rounded instead of just hanging out with a bunch of pickup dudes forever, right? Like if you look at Justin, he's got promoter friends. He's got wealthy 60-year-old dudes with yachts. And they all have different elements where like they have different advice and it just makes you more, like I said, more rounded.
The thing is like, like not everyone have the luxury of getting these kind of circle, but the dating should be definitely like easier for guys to get laid. Why we need to have like these kind of circle or something. Sometimes I think like that, why we need to work hard that much in building that kind of social circle to get laid. So I will say, like, when it comes to DHV part that I want to discuss, like DHV part is something like it is, you can say it is a lie, or it's a true DHV, or it is you are just faking it. So if you are congruently doing it, it can work out. So sometimes, for example, the guy whose name is imagine like there is a guy named Ashish who has a hardcore Indian accent, who is coming fresh off the boat from Mumbai, and he want to now learn game, and we changed the name from Ashish to Andrew. So in one way to I'm not saying in that way like he has to ashamed of his identity, but we have to do some adaptation and for the Western culture, and it looks not that like weird. So something like this, or a DHV in a way that I know that mystery DHVs that some guys did, and why it didn't work out because the guys were not congruent and they were like some virgin guy saying that, oh, I met this stripper girlfriend and this and that, and it failed completely. But in some way, what I have seen, if, for example, a guy who is a imagine a guy who I was working with a student who was a nurse in some as a nurse, and then he was, now we are gaming in New York, and then I said, like, can't you just say you are a doctor in NYU hospital? And then, oh, I want to be authentic, oh, this. I say, okay, I am giving you an option, just say that you are a doctor, and or if you or you can say like you're a nurse. So then he met a girl, she was aeronautical engineer, and then it just, I gave him the hint, and then he said that he is a doctor at NYU, and he talk about this thing, and then he banged this girl
I don't
in
think
New
you should.
York.
But it's not about banging. Once again, Deepak,
No, no,
it's
no, no,
not
no,
about
no.
just getting
So
laid,
you,
man.
yeah. But again,
You
like,
have a bang
after
counter.
banging, the thing started. You cannot get
Yeah, but you started a
girlfriend.
relationship
I don't
based
think
off
you
of
should.
time.
But yeah, again, you cannot get a girlfriend without banging. So if that things, we can solve that things also later.
But the
But
thing
if
is,
he
like,
is
maybe she
not,
would have banged him if he was a nurse still. You know, like whenever I was making no money, making like 40K a year in my early 20s, I still
yeah,
got girls who still like me,
like
I
right?
don't think you should tell girls you're a doctor if you're not. That's just like
Right.
straight
Exactly.
lying.
That's exception right there.
no, I think like this
Also,
this
like,
much I have, for example, like,
you're not
listen, like,
gonna get on call
there are
dating.
ways to deal
You're
with the
not gonna.
situation. There, if you have a good game, you can deal. I have done it. I mean, should I say or not say? But for example, this is something I have seen and I have done it. So it is about like projecting the right emotions at the right time. When I say, so I'm 46, yeah. So my girlfriend is way younger than me, and I said something about my age, and then I forget, and then she said, "Oh, you must be like 36 now because your birthday." I said, "Did I said?" And somehow, and then so I just said it like,
Yeah,
listen, like
maybe age is like.
whatever. Listen, let me finish. So I said like, listen, I know what I said, but at that time maybe I lied, but right now the emotions I have, right now the love, the emotion is real. That is the most important thing what we have between you and me. And then she just forget about it, and it is still going on. So it is about how you deal with the situation. First you have to get the things done, and then you can deal with the situation. And like, this is how I see in the geopolitics, the big countries, they all do the same thing. Nobody is authentic. When you say the country where you are living, that is not even authentic. So why, so learn from that, so live examples what you see in the world. Why not? It need to be just authentic. It just to need to be congruent. That's it.
Well, it's not congruent because you're not a doctor.
Huh?
It's not a congruent. You're not a doctor. I do
Yeah,
think
but
that
if the
ultimately.
girl is seeing that, but he's not saying he's a DJ. So
Yeah,
he
what
can
if
put
she?
the
What if she's
injection,
like,
he can do the
okay? What if,
CPR, he can do the CPR, he can do this thing. I'm not saying just to make him convert into a CEO of XYZ company. I'm just saying he's a nurse. Just make him a doctor and get the things done. He can do CPR,
That's
he
not
can
how it's
talk about
done.
injections and all the stuff.
yeah,
The
what if
truth
she's like,
is,
okay,
like,
are you a radiologist? Or are you an internal medicine? Or are you a cardiologist? You do stenting? Then what are you gonna say?
No, he's a general doctor.
but like,
Okay, well,
why would you lie though? That's the
doing a
thing.
residency, what are you gonna say? Like, dude, you're gonna be a shit ton of
A lot
lies.
of women are gonna dislike him for him being a nurse. You know, if they see
Yeah,
potential, maybe he'll be a doctor later.
Student's gonna be the guy that's gonna get maybe a few first lays with a bunch of drunk girls,
I mean,
but
he's having a
not gonna have
girlfriend
the
and he's living
capacity for like.
he's been living the life at the end, like, who is able to solve his problem, and he is living, and he break the record actually for the boot camp, and uh, so at the end, like, results matter. So he is happy. He is like having a girlfriend. He's enjoying his life. One or two times maybe it didn't work out, but overall the what I teach him, it worked out for him. Maybe like out of 10 girls, maybe two times it didn't work out. but there are many situations it worked out, and we just go when focus on the success. At the end, you want a one girlfriend with whom you want to spend majority of your time, or maybe like 2, 3, 4 years. When you're going for long term, that only matters at the end.
Okay, let's continue on pickup community mistakes. Aisen and Justin.
Well, the truth is, I'm not really into the pickup community that much. I haven't read all the books. The only book I've read was The Game. There's another one actually that I read. It's like the sequel to The Game. It's like Rules of the Game, right? I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
And so I'm not really sure what DHV means exactly right now. But what I know is that I have to agree with, one thing that really stood out when Mike was saying they forget to be in the present. It's all about being in the present. A lot of times we think about things to say before we even say it. We have all these questions in our heads. We're like, oh, wait, I got to ask her what she likes, favorite color, if she likes food, what kind of food she likes, traveling. And then you're not listening to the person talking. A lot of times you could get so much out of just listening and piggyback off of her response than just thinking about what's ahead. And a lot of engineers that I coach think ahead or think in the past, think about the regrets they've made or things that they've done that were not good, and think about the future, all the fears and tribulations that they could have, but they're not in the present. And one thing that I tell people is express how you feel, meaning that if you see a girl on a date with you and she's a little bit nervous or a little bit, keeping to herself, just ask her, hey, is everything okay? You seem a little nervous. And most of the time, they don't even realize that they're being nervous. Maybe they had a long day at work. They're like, oh, yeah, like, you know what? I just had a long day at work. Now you're caring. You're talking to her, communicating. Hey, is this place too loud? If you want, we can go somewhere more quiet, right? Things like that. A lot of times I can't read body language that well. So I ask, like, hey, are you having fun tonight? They're like, yeah. And then I say, you don't look like you're having fun. They're like, yeah, I just want to dance more. You want to dance with me? I'm like, hell yeah. Now we're dancing. That's all I know.
That. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, to answer the question of what I think, the pickup community does wrong, I think a lot of guys actually build an identity of being a pickup artist instead of just being a person who's learning or being influenced positively from the information they learn from the community. But you really got to have a well-rounded personality. Like, you can't just be the guy who's just doing pickup all the time. You have to go to the gym, learn different skills that are complementary to learning pickup. So you don't want to just be the guy who's doing like 8 hours a day of day game and you're not even getting results. You're not really doing anything with your life. You want to be actually taking these skills that you're learning and actually applying them to different areas of your life. So maybe you're in university and instead of just being the pickup guy on your college campus, you're using these principles to create a social circle, right? Or, maybe you have different social groups that you're part of and you're using those skills to further your influence, right? So that's a major thing. I think a lot of people make a mistake in the pickup community. One thing I also think a lot of people make a mistake on is just working on their outer game, their techniques, and not really working on the inner game, their inner core. So like doing things that actually grow your self-esteem and make you a stronger version of yourself, right? I think it's super, super important. So things like, martial arts or like meditation, fitness, travel is a really big thing. I found, that helps guys improve their personality and improve their character, right? So actually working on what's inside, right? Because you can learn every single fucking technique, in the book, but it's like, well, how do you actually apply that, if internally you're a little bitch, right? When circumstances present themselves, you have to actually be able to handle the social situations that come up. Right. So actually working on your inner game, I think, is extremely, extremely important. Working on your outer game is extremely important as well. But I think a lot of guys, only work on their outer game. They don't work on their inner game. I've also seen a lot of guys that only work on their inner game, don't work on their outer game. So you kind of got to do both. I think it's really, really important as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, I agree with
All right,
Justin.
next. Go ahead.
They get too zoomed in on one thing, right? They find a little bit of success in one thing when it comes to meeting girls, and then that's all they do, right? Like they start out doing day game, and then 10 years later, they're still wearing a backpack, like harassing women at a campus. It's like, bro, you're a doctor. What are you doing with a backpack on? Like, can we try to innovate other ways to meet girls, right? Or like people refuse to use Instagram. I'm like, dude, girls are on Instagram like 3 or 4 hours a day. Let's incorporate different skill sets. So I think, yeah, just like not being stuck on doing one thing.
Perfect. Nice. Next one. What are your go-to first dates? So for example, if you some guys tend to just go to a bar or something like that. What tends to be the kind of pattern or type of dates you go on?
Yeah, so I personally like girls just come straight to my house, right? Like for me, generally, I have a rule where if it's a first date, it's my first time meeting the girl, you know, I don't want to have, because when I was first started game, right, I lived an hour and a half outside the city, right? So I had another option, but to go meet up at a bar or some sort of restaurant and in a city center. But what I find is the most strategic thing to do is just have a place that's city center, like have good logistics, live in the heart of your city, right? And I like to either have girls meet me very close by to my place, so I don't have to waste a lot of time, you know, getting to the location, or just come straight to my house. And I designed my place to pretty much be like an experience. So like I have a penthouse here, I have a bar in my house. So I mean, they can just come straight over and then we can make a decision on, you know, do we want to go out for food? Do we want to go to like this bar or this club or this venue or the movies or whatever? Right. So that's personally what I do and what I like to do. Right. I don't like to take girls on crazy fancy dates the first time I meet them. Right. If I did have to take a girl on a like out and go out for a first date, I like to keep it very, very simple, right? Like pub food or something that's like cozy, that feels, you know, relaxing. It's nothing that's too high. And high-end restaurants are a bad idea because it just sets a wrong expectation. Or if you go to the movies, you can't really even talk and get to know the girl, right? So keeping it very, very casual, where you have an opportunity to actually get to know each other and actually spend time just talking, getting to know each other, I find is the best thing to do. Another reason I like, you know, doing it straight to my place is because it kind of tells me the natural default comfort level of the girl and how she feels, right? With the idea of meeting me, right? And if she's apprehensive to, you know, meeting up and coming straight to my house, then in my mind, right, I'm in so much abundance, it just feels like a bit of a time waste, right? So I don't necessarily, I'm just telling you guys what I do. I don't recommend that necessarily to a guy who's starting out or a guy who's kind of new to game. That might not work for him, or he might not have a similar setup. But, you know, being able to replicate that in a way where it's like, okay, you're going to, you know, have the girl meet at the bar across the street from your house. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time getting ready. Have her come to you. Even the fact that she spent the time to come to you, right? She's now further investing into the relationship dynamic. So it actually, you know, makes your chance of you guys getting along better because now she's actually invested into the date. Right. So I like them to come to me. But that's also why I make sure anytime I travel, I always get an Airbnb in the city center, you know, by the bars, by the restaurants. Right. So that way, if a girl is coming from the suburbs to come meet you or coming from another part of the city to come meet you, right, you have the opportunity and the option to, you know, go out to the bar, the pub, or the restaurant, wherever entertainment is, you know, in your general vicinity.
Okay, I'll go. I think in terms of where to take girls on dates, it really depends on your skill level and like your budget too, right? And I think as dating coaches, what we do sometimes they maybe aren't best practices because once you're good, you can do anything, right? Like most dating, you know, most dating advice will tell you like don't take girls out to dinner because you're just going to be eating. Don't take girls out to the movies. I love that shit because I like eating and I like going to the movies. So I'm not optimizing like I'm not optimizing for conversion because my game is already decent, right? I'm optimizing for just doing what I want and I'm optimizing for time, right? So I also like taking girls to the gym on a first date because, well, if I can go to the gym, get a workout in, and go on a date, it's also great. But what I would say is if you're beginner starting out, you know, keep it. I think the most solid is like a 2-part bounce. So you take her somewhere like happy hour or drinks, take her to another place for like frozen yogurt, whatever, and then you try to go for the bowl. Right. So that's probably like the simplest, decent budget and kind of highest conversion because you're taking a girl to a different location. You're building a little bit more compliance. She's a little bit more comfortable with you. That way, you know, when she goes back to your house, that's always good. Another method is like for Justin, kind of like what Justin said, if you can have a reason for a girl to like come swing by your house first, just so she's like used to it, and then we go out on a date, right? So Justin's is a wild guy, so like he's I'm an old man, so I don't I can't keep up with his volume. Like he'll show up in like Mexico City and I'll have like 20 girls over in like 2 hours. I'm like, dude, all right, dude, this is too much. I'm out. But yeah, I think just focus on like not spending too much. Like I think I don't really like coffee dates, to be honest. I just don't think girls get that excited for coffee dates, and I don't think coffee doesn't really put them in the mood. I generally think dates in the evening is best. I see a lot of guys do like brunch dates or lunch dates. I think that's kind of a waste of time. I think when you're starting out after 7 p.m. is going to give you the highest probability of something good happening. And I would say, like, again, once you're getting success and you're going on quite a few dates, mix it up. Again, people are just doing like the one trick pony kind of guys. They're really amazing. They do that first date, they get laid, whatever. And then they just do that all the time. Like I would say if you're getting results with women, you're getting better, like do a nicer second date. Once in a while, take her to a museum, right? And if she's a really amazing girl, like take her on a trip. Like obviously don't do this for every girl, but like a quality one, maybe like and sometimes a trip to like Puerto Vallarta, Costa Rica, it's like $300. Not even that much money. It's like somewhere that you want to go in and you give her a good experience. So that's why I say in game, it's all about new experiences and it's all about just living life, trying new shit. And like it gets boring, like closing girls after, like closing girls after the first date and then you never see them again. Like after 100, it gets pretty boring. So for me, like I just try to mix it up. Like I took a girl to like a painting class a couple weeks back, or I took a girl to just different gun range, whatever. Mix it up.
I like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's funny, actually. I actually a few years back I went to another country for a first date. Not to have the first date there, but as a first date, we're both traveling there to cities I never been to. So that was a pretty fucking crazy one, and some other similar ones.
So yeah, I will say like there are like a lot of factors depends. So first of all, like from the which background the girl is having. If the girl is conservative background, there are like some conservative girls. It is impossible just to invite them straight to your apartment. It is just impossible. Like some culture, it is not gonna work. Because I dated like different countries and different type of girls. So in my opinion, some girls will not be going to that route. So, and the second is like, what is the level of game I able to like, establish, like how much she's attracted to me when I approached her. So I'm talking about like daytime meeting scenario. So if I able to make the girl to like me really like able to build that kind of romantic sexual vibe with her, then the date will be a simple I will say like I meet the girl for just for a coffee, a simple go for a walk. If it is summertime, then we will be going in the park or something in Europe. If it is winter time, then we will just sit in a bar, and then because she likes me for who I am, just a formality, and then I will take her home, and then boom boom, something like that. If I am not able to establish that kind of this intimacy with her, and the girl is a bit conservative background, then it may happen that I know that I will not able to close the girl on the first date. Then I will not even think about pulling the girl, and then it may happen that I will just go for a coffee, simple coffee, build more comfort and see how far I can go, and then finish. Then we meet for the second date. And sometimes for example, my present girlfriend, I able to like have her in my life after 9 dates. So it took me a lot of time for me, and in some situation I knew that it is not going to work, but I just have to meet anyway, because in her mind she has to do this kind of pattern. Okay, whatever. So but sometimes the girl who is like slightly more open, I can sense it, then just simple, like, meeting outside. Again, like these logistical things, what the other coaches have also said, that the location should be near to the apartment. So first date location, then second date location, which will be more near to the apartment, and then from there, like I try to bounce to my place, and from there, like, close the deal, something like that, simple. So this is the, like, pattern I will
All right.
use.
Well, I do have to go in a little bit, so this is going to be my last input. And I do have to say that you guys had some great insights. And so I have to agree, I'm kind of a mixture between Mike and Justin because I do live in the city center. So my apartment's like 35 steps to the bar, 35 big steps. But regardless, you got to do something you like. So for me, I'm a recovering alcoholic, so I love to drink. So I'll be at bars anyways without even girls. So I will invite them to drink. Yeah. And the fact that I'm always in my apartment too, I'm always, I work from home. So I do Zoom calls, I film. So I don't want to be in my apartment all the time. So I don't invite them up. So it's kind of it's an honor for them to come up. I'm like, hey, this is my own zen space, my personal space. And so I think bars are great. Coffee dates suck because coffee is a stimulant and it makes you more agitated, more nervous, maybe more anxious as well. And this is for the beginner guys, for guys that, maybe not very comfortable in bars. I would suggest going somewhere that you're comfortable in. Better yet, go somewhere that you guys are both comfortable in. And my last point is, if you guys live far, right? If you live far from the girl, don't ever meet in the middle because that's bumfuck nowhere. No one knows anything about that place. Meet somewhere close to her or meet somewhere close to you first. And next time you can switch vice versa. So these are my tips. And once again, thank you guys for having me here tonight. Appreciate you, Ice White. Appreciate you, Deepak. Appreciate you, Mike. And of course, Justin, I love your apartment, your setup. I actually seen one of your videos, doing a little tour. Amazing place. And for the guys that left, JT and Daniel, appreciate them as well. And thank you guys so much for having me tonight. And I'll talk to you guys hopefully another time.
Yeah,
It's great to have you here.
Yeah, I gotta go as well. Thanks for setting it up. And Mike, Deepak, great to see you.
Yeah, we gotta
Aisen,
hang out
Good
again
to see
soon.
you here
And,
also.
was last time
And-
Colombia, so we gotta figure something out.
let's keep in touch.
Good.
Okay, boys, take care.
Nice.
See you later.
Take care, you too also. Yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah, let's go for one last question and we'll
Only two
wrap it
left.
let's keep this one a little bit short. Where do you meet most of the women you date? Is it day game, night game, message games such as Tinder and Instagram, or in other ways?
From work,
So
man.
Mike, you can go first.
Scraps, dude, all over. Like I would say, like once you're good, you can just start meeting people organically. I would say, every single weekend I'm either doing day game or night game with students. Obviously, social circle, friends of friends, online dating. So it doesn't really matter. I'm tapped into like all the pools, right? I wouldn't say I'm like aggressively using online dating, but I have all the apps. It's there.
So, okay, so I will say that when it comes to online, I'm a very highly introvert guy, and in my free time, I study politics, history, and all the stuff. So I usually like that's why I did try this Tinder Instagram thing, and it's just too much of work for me. So, and they're like majority of the guys who are coming in the as want to improve their dating life, they are introvert, and so I did Tinder, Instagram, but I saw that the real life game actually uh, I cannot get that quality from online. Even like my girlfriend, one of my girlfriend, she told me that I saw you on Tinder, but I always pay Tinder Gold. So what happens is if somebody's like you, then then like that then you will get immediately match. So she left swipe me in Tinder because she told that she see me, but I never got that match. But I met her in real life and then made her my girlfriend in the past. So definitely I will say like all my my lays, majority of my lays, my girlfriends, they are from real time, daytime scenario. I have some success in nighttime also, but majority are from day game. And the day game quality, if you want, if you are good in game, then you cannot beat the quality compares to like Tinder and all. Of course, like if you do a very show a very good lifestyle in Instagram and all, you can get some success. But there are many guys who are not that kind of extroverts, and for them, like getting a girl from day game, live a happy life, it is still a good option.
All right, let's have this one last question and we'll finish for sure. Here's a very good one. Game is a constant journey. What is something you have learned recently, even at your level?
Hmm.
Running Instagram,
Yeah, Mike, you can go.
running Instagram ads. I mean, that's maybe we shouldn't talk
For,
about that.
for dating
Select few
purposes?
people. Yeah, for dating, kind of interesting. But dating is just very nuanced. You're always learning, you're always growing. Every time you try, there are certain things about dating that's universal, but there's also certain things that's very like geography specific, right? Like gaming in Latin America versus Korea versus China, whatever. It's so every time I go to a new country, like my game is constantly getting better. I do think that as you get better and better, it's kind of diminishing returns, right? It's like year 14 into going out, I'm not gonna have like my mind blown. So I'm getting more and more like smaller refinements and increments, right? And yeah, it's just hanging out with solid people, traveling the world. Um, I don't think I have anything. Yeah, I don't think I really have anything specific. Uh, it's just really interesting seeing how guys with a fuck ton of money are meeting girls. It's just the dating scene right now. There's so much disparity between the haves and have-nots. It's just kind of unfair, dude. I'm getting invited to this guy. He's a crypto founder, but we might go on this $100 million yacht. But yeah, it's kind of unfair almost. Like some guys are, and that's the thing with dating, right? Like you can't be average at this. If you decide to embark on this journey to become that top 1% man, you got to go all out. You got to work on all facets of your life because right now it is because of Instagram, social media, it is kind of like that winner takes all aspect. And yeah, it's a competition. You're competing with other guys out there.
To be top 1%, you got to do top 1% things.
Yeah. Go to the gym
But the thing,
every other day. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Work on your career, finances, invest. Do stand up. I've done every classes there is to take. I've done
Stand-up
stand up,
comedy? You were gonna say? Yeah, I did that too.
improv comedy, acting class, photography class, video editing. Every single Tony Robbins seminar I've been to. I've been to Peru. I've been in an Amazon jungle in Iquitos. I've done ayahuasca. I've done other like self-awareness classes like Atlas Project, literally everything out there. I've done, yeah, I've even been to India. So you just got to keep learning, right? And I think a lot of guys think that, oh, if I take one boot camp, am I done, Mike? And I'm just like, yeah, it's a good start. It's a great, catalyst, but you got to constantly be learning. You got to constantly be evolving. This is a non-ending process. I'm different now than I was 5 years ago versus 10 years ago. So, and dating is constantly changing, right? Back in the day, people thought it was stupid to get a girl's Instagram. The background mystery method or whatever. It's like 2011, 2012. They thought it was low value, but now it's like I kind of get Instagram more than numbers just because my Instagram is so decked out that and I'd rather work. For me, like I prioritize work over dating, and just my Instagram is just a passive engine that's just helping me with options. So now it's like Instagram is more important than numbers in many cases. So
yeah,
but yeah,
because you can broadcast to everyone who follows you, everyone who's watching you, effortlessly instead of sending one particular message to everyone individually. You just post something on your story, everyone can see it for 24 hours and so on. And it's
Yeah.
everything's public. If you're only taking phone numbers, the only thing it contributes to is how long your contacts list is. And you're the only person who sees that interface. But on Instagram, it's a public page, or you can have a private one too, but people can see through some kind of lens what your life is like. And it's such a huge tool that does the work for you. Yeah, Deepak.
Yeah, so okay, so what are the something you have learned recently? I mean, like I will say, as a like a learner of the game, passion about the game. So know your strength, know your weakness, and that is very important. Like, what are your strengths? What are your weakness? Like. I know exactly what are my strength and what are my weakness, and ability to screen girl before I even approach them, screen girls without, and I get the sense that if I able to get successful with that girl or not that girl, that reading that kind of things before even approaching the girl. That is something I have learned. That kind of the mindset is really, that is something have really changed. Even the last 3 years, I had a terrible sickness in 2021. I mean, you cannot say like it is about dating, but I really like life-threatening situation happened. And I'm still like doing really good. I have some permanent health situation happened, and the mindset is really has changed. My mind is really like a do or die kind of mindset now, and I don't really fear like death at this point of time. Like this is something just happened like from last 2 years, something like that. Something I have not because of the dating experience, because of my personal experience in my health and other things. So that is something that is contributed to that. So I am more like I became like more hardcore version of myself compared to if you know me from the old days. Definitely that has changed. With the age, I have more, what we say, maturity, more maturity, and dealing with conflicts with more maturity. And I also look for, like one thing I look for, if somebody is getting successful, then what they are doing, why they are successful. If a group is successful, in like overall group is more successful, then what exactly they are doing, why they are successful, something, so that what we can learn from these people. If I see some guy who is, for example, not really good looking guy, and and they are doing like some natural guy, and they are doing better than me, then I see them, okay, like what exactly they are doing, how we can like they are not using the money and all the other stuff, but what exactly the behavioral things what they are doing, that I can learn, and I can also improve my game. So this is something I have. I'm humble very humble to like when I see, I like sometimes people say that, oh, I'm very, sometimes I come as a very arrogant, but I'm very humble. If I see someone from whom I can learn, I'm always open to learn new things. So this is something I will say, like on the personal level, I have learned, and like on the like what we say, constant journey, you can say, I'm still improving. One thing I also like, the when it comes to looks maxing, like physical fitness, so exactly how much percentage of body fat, I know exactly what time period, what kind of cloth exactly know. I'm very efficient, so that when I go out, even I go out like 2 times in a year, I can get results in these 2 days. So I'm so much efficient in my results now.
Alrighty, nice. Perfect. Thanks, guys, for joining the panel. Comments your questions for the next one, of course. And I want to do some more debates. So just about 2 weeks ago, I hosted Just Pearly Things versus Ross Jeffries. How fucking insane was that fucking? It was weird.
I just feel like she says what guys want to hear just for the algorithm almost. I don't follow her religiously, but it's almost like so
a lot of
easy for the
people say
girl
that.
to do red pill shit. You know? Like if you're a guy and you do red pill, it's like you might get canceled. But if you're a girl and you do red pill stuff, it's like I don't know.
Can
You
still
just
get
all the guys
cancelled.
like,
She
maybe.
got demonetized, but
Oh, she did.
well.
Oh fuck. Dude, she's already made her millions, so whatever.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like I would love like if you can invite me some other like debates or something. I would love to.
Yeah, I
do
was gonna
that.
say,
Yeah.
I'm attempting to host. So here's one example: direct game versus indirect game. So how this one's gonna go down? Actually, I'm not gonna allow more direct gamers because Bad Boy, who created direct game, wants to be the only guy on the team, and he just wants to take on as many fucking indirect
So
gamers as
yeah, bring it
possible.
on. Yeah, let's do it.
Fucking legend.
I would love
So
to debate.
any indirect gamers, come on, just fucking send me a message and let's set it up.
Yeah,
I just
mean,
need to
like
collect like a ridiculous amount of indirect gamers for that one. Second one, well, our original ones were Social Circle Game versus Cold Approach. We've done that twice. But let me take a look at this list actually. Debates. Natural game versus technical game. So I'm kind of playing planning a 2v2. I just need one more technical game guy. When
I can't join any
dropped
of these
out.
because both sides have valid points, and I'm kind of like a neutral person. I incorporate everything that works.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
I
the
can't.
point of this debate is because it's based around verbal game, it's less of a debate and more like you can learn from both sides. Like this is why I'm interested in hosting that one. And
It's
what
it's
else
good
we
to
got?
have like debates always gets people roused up. Pick a side.
Yeah. Primary game versus secondary game. So if unfamiliar with those terms, it's basically physical world versus virtual world. So people who are so into Instagram and Tinder message game in general, but don't really like cold approach versus people who just do cold approach. Like purist versus purist, pretty much.
It have both. Got to be good with everything,
Yep.
man.
So if you want more radical, then I can definitely like watch, go for like a real thing. So if you want to put me in that debate part, though, I can really defend that argument. But and like it's up to you. Yeah.
Noted. There we go. And the last one I got here was the looks versus personality. It's the age-old fucking debate there. But yeah, just let me know
So
after
bring
this.
some. You have to bring some really
like
hardcore black pill guy for that. Looks versus personality. You have to bring some hardcore black pill guy. Then I can we can defend it.
The
But
funny
if
thing is, these a lot of these black pill guys, they tend to be fucking anonymous on the internet. So it's like, dude, we're just listening to your fucking audios or looking at your weird fucking messages, and they never come on the fucking camera or have profile pictures.
yeah,
waffles,
it's like the
have you
guys
tried?
that care about looks don't seem to work on their looks. It's really bizarre.
Yeah, it's like, so
But
how are we supposed to have this fucking debate when we can't even fucking see you when you're arguing that you look so
a
good?
model.
No, he can do on like without video. So there's a guy called Wheat Waffles, and there is a guy called CBP Coach Black Pill. There's a guy called Angelo Nero or something. You have to, I don't know, like you have
I
to
think
find a way.
yeah,
To.
that's such a weird name, Coach Black Pill. Like, what results are you offering? So bizarre.
Drugs.
You know what I'm saying? Why don't you just be a plastic surgeon? Like, just get 10 years of plastic surgery skills. Go to
Why don't you
residence.
just turn into an Asian? Just turn
I
Japanese,
don't,
turn Chinese.
I don't understand. What is it that like? What's the what's the offer? Like, if I need help and I go, "Hey, Coach Black Pill, like, fix me." Like, what's the?
Is he
Gonna take
maybe he's just like has affiliate links for plastic surgeons or something?
Just be a plastic
There's a
surgeon. That would be the most the epitome of a black pill coach, right?
Yeah,
He
now that I
can't
think
be.
about it.
Yeah,
there's a one guy called Rehab Room. I guess he was in the old days. He was Incel TV. Now he has this Rehab Room. I mean, like you can bring that guys if you're able to. Then we can debate them. Yeah, they are like
See if I
hardcore
can pull some
black pill guys.
strings. We shall see. But thanks guys for watching. Like how
Yeah.
crazy it is having an Asian dating coach panel.
That's
I don't think this has ever been
Yeah, thanks for getting
done
this together.
before.
Because we all like talk shit about each other
Yeah.
behind backs, but like I feel like this is a good bringing it. Actually, everybody's pretty cool on the podcast, so it's good to like have a conversation with everybody.
Yeah,
Multiple-
first time I able to have like me and you together in this debate, not debate, but in this podcast. Me
You
and
come to
Mike.
Vegas? Yeah, how often do you come to Vegas?
Me?
I was just there a few months ago. So it was funny. You mentioned you got cameras around your place. Dan Bilzerian had the same thing. So I came to Vegas to have a meeting with Dan Bilzerian basically, back in October. But I'm hoping to come back soon, actually.
No,
So,
yeah. Let me treat you out to dinner or whatever lunch. And love to hang out with you because I think we actually have a lot of shared interests. I mean,
exactly.
I love Peru. I speak a little Japanese. Been to Japan, so you know, any input I can give you for your upcoming trip, love to.
We have both been canceled in the news. Lots of stuff in common.
It's not that bad being canceled.
Yeah, I know. It's like all that happened was some guy sent me a message that was hateful, and then nothing else happened, basically.
Oh wow, Asian guys talking to white girls. Oop.
Well,
Yeah, nothing happened. I got like that article got like 4 likes. They need to just stop trying to cancel Asians because just nobody cares. Man. Nobody cares what an Asian guy dates. It's great.
You take down one Asian and 10 more will replace him. So
Maybe
you
I'll
can't
call up
fucking win.
Let me call up Xi Jinping and be like, yo, this Danya Hajjaji chick, dude, after Tom committed suicide, she fucking went in hiding. She like closed down all her social media. This chick's fucking scared. Let's go reverse cancel her. Let's figure out like all the information and write an article about her. I think that'd be a good idea.
Holy shit.